sets of minutes to get through. So could I have a motion first to approve the minutes of November 21st?
Well, as
I
usual,
wasn't here.
As usual, I like to start that, but the first question is, does anybody have any corrections, additions,
Yes.
subtractions?
Yes, well, I do it so that yes and no and then discussion, but okay.
Yeah.
You direct me, Alan, I always appreciate that.
No,
Okay.
that's all right.
That's fine.
I will certainly make the motion, but as we've encountered before, there could be changes, so let's
Yes,
address the
absolutely.
changes first.
So are there any changes for November 21st?
No, John?
He wasn't here.
Okay.
I wasn't here, so I have nothing to say on
I
the matter.
have one minor thing, but it's not that relevant. It's under section 5,
Okay,
halfway through. So it's.
Maria volunteered?
Yes, Maria volunteered for the survey working group.
Okay,
So there was supposed to be these working groups established.
So just the word working.
Just add the word working
Okay.
in between survey, and that's it.
okay, anybody else? Okay,
Hearing no other changes, I therefore make a motion to accept the minutes of the Thursday, November 21st, 2019 meeting of the CPC.
Second the motion.
all in favor?
Aye.
Great. Alan, take it away on December 12th.
We'll start off again. We have the minutes before us. Are there any additions, subtractions, deletions, corrections?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
Again, third page, item 5. It says Mark Kreskevich.
Kreskevich.
I promise I will learn how to pronounce it.
Mark K is fine.
Mark K.
I know, but I've known Ernesto for so long, it's embarrassing, I don't know how to pronounce that. But anyway, it should be Maria Rose said that the Conservation Commission, and then the pronoun he, because you didn't report on what my commission would be doing.
okay.
So that was a
And
type,
she.
and then it should be she.
Okay, Maria, can you help me? I'm having trouble seeing, is this
So
number
under
5?
Number 5.
Under
Okay.
authority, board, and commission
Yeah.
updates for the December 12th meeting. Mark is noted as reporting on the Conservation Commission, when in fact it should have been
Sorry,
myself.
sorry.
Maria Rose said the conservation, and it's not committee, it's commission. And then on the second line, or where it says he, all the he's should be changed to
Got
she.
it. She also said that she is hoping another group will do something before the spring. Okay, terrific. Is, also, for some reason, I'm sorry, my eyes must be getting old, but obviously B on page 2 is like this blue, but on my screen it was looking black. I'll make sure that's changed. Apologize. Anything else?
No, I will make a motion to accept them, or anyone else have any change? I'll make a motion to accept the December 12th meeting minutes as amended in on page 3.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great,
Like to be recorded as present.
because you were not at that meeting, I remember Dennis. Okay.
You were,
No, he was not. He was at the rock and roll.
Oh.
Just
And which
time.
one, the 12th?
This one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wait, so are you correctly noted as absent? on
Yes,
that?
he is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, check it. He's noted as absent.
to report to us about that? I can't.
Okay. All right.
It was on the grounds.
My buddy Alan down there, take it away on January 2nd.
All right, we have before us the minutes of the Thursday, January 2nd, 2020 meeting. And again, are there any corrections, additions, deletions?
Yeah, I've got a couple of things.
Right, John?
Let's see. On page 3 in the paragraph about publicizing the event,
So
One,
first,
two.
up top regarding publicizing the event?
yeah,
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
I wanted to add that John Bockian volunteered to put up flyers at heavily trafficked MBTA stops. I didn't notice that.
Do you know where you wanted to put
Yeah,
that in,
at the
John?
bottom
Just add it at the bottom?
of that paragraph?
Let me just take another look at it.
Or maybe after Dennis. Dennis offered to post flyers at the talk in the town diner and stick it in
Yeah,
there.
that makes sense.
Okay, could you give us the
Okay.
language, John, one more time?
Yes, John Bockian volunteered to put up flyers at heavily trafficked MBTA bus stops, such as the Watertown Square Caban.
Flyers at heavily trafficked bus stops, such
Make sure
as,
I get credit for that.
you're already down.
They're already, you checked?
It's very funny, because I have friends that take the meeting, I said, just see if we're up there, they said you're not there, so I'm thinking, they can't make the buses run on time, but they can take down the flyers. Okay, sorry, John, heavily trafficked bus stops such as,
The Watertown Square car.
okay, Watertown Square, et cetera, is that okay?
Car barn.
Car barn, et cetera?
Is our note taker here? What's her?
No, she's gone, I'll explain that, I explained, Maria, we were talking earlier, okay.
I've got one other thing.
Yep.
Okay, just, all right, we'll get through that, Maria, and I'll be happy to explain. Okay, John.
So at the end of the last paragraph of section 2,
Section 2,
so that's
page
page
4,
page 5.
no, 5.
Oh,
So to add at the last sentence, John Bockian disagreed about the priority of adopting rules of procedure and as to what the law allows as to the CPC setting its own rules to require more than 3 votes to adopt a motion.
It'd be nice if you typed this out first, John.
Well, I actually sent this to Lene, so she has it.
I did have.
Okay, you have it, Lene? Okay, so we won't worry about that, okay?
All right, thank you.
Jason, I think you had something you wanted to.
Yeah, my correction was just kind of along the same lines as John's, specifically that I was gonna bring flyers to all of the schools, as opposed to just the elementary schools.
The question is, did you do it, Jason?
I did.
Okay, so you want.
Are they still there, is the question.
Okay, we'll talk about this in a few moments. So this was on page, this would have been added.
This was the, Jason Cohen suggested providing flyers to the elementary schools.
Okay. Could you just tell me what page we're on,
Sorry,
Jason?
it's page 3.
3.
Where we got it, John's note.
Yeah, I'm just trying to
Just below
find
that.
First full paragraph on page 3, it looks like, maybe?
Yeah, middle of the first paragraph.
Well, what's the difference there? Jason Cohen suggested providing flyers
To
to.
the elementary, all the
All
schools.
of the schools.
All the schools.
All, okay, so-
All the
So,
schools.
just the word all.
All the schools, okay.
Oh, all the schools, not just elementary. You did,
Correct,
oh,
yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Middle school and high school. Okay, are there any other, Susan?
I wasn't here,
Okay,
But
so
I
you can't
noticed-
add anything unless it's a typo.
but it is a typo on the 1 to 3rd paragraph on page 2.
Third paragraph on page 2, okay.
Second sentence, so people don't feel social pressure to stay, not say.
People, oh, to stay, okay, thank you, Susan.
And
Very good.
The other thing, as a reader, I did not understand what it meant when, this is Marie, I think maybe this is incomplete, that you think that the average Watertown resident is not a potential applicant. Is that,
Yeah, I thought that most people aren't going to get the funding and find millions of dollars in joint funding for,
Okay.
a housing project or,
okay,
I
I
don't
got
know.
it.
That's what I meant, that like
Okay.
the average citizen, that you would
Okay.
need the backing of a large group.
As a group, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, I also just know that like, you should be careful giving money to a well-meaning group of citizens.
Very careful.
Very I know that, and where I work, they say that be very careful
Okay.
to not give money just to a bunch of people
Yep.
that are well-meaning, but there's no.
Okay, so we
I do have
have,
one comment though, I wanted to clarify one sentence in that set of notes. Is it page 4? The big, huge paragraph.
yes,
And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
halfway
8,
down.
9 lines from the bottom. Maria Rose said she thought the wording made it irrelevant, and that was regarding that housing coordinator position. I didn't say that. Maria, I would prefer that to be changed to, Maria Rose said it could be worded better.
Yes, you did say that, I remember that.
It was worded in the negative.
It was
and-
worded in the negative,
And
right,
I
I
just-
remember you said that, Maria, so,
So I just want it struck that I didn't say that the
okay,
word-
so,
Maria
but
Rose-
I do remember you saying that you wanted it worded in the positive, not the negative.
Right.
Maria Rose said she thought the wording should be, could we just say, should be written positively?
In the positive versus the negative.
Okay, she said the wording should be written,
it could be reworded better in the positive instead of the negative.
Okay, in the positive, okay, great. Okay, I just want to total up how many changes we have, so that Renee and I will know this down the road. So we have your change on one page there. I have a change on page 2. I have a change on page 3. I have 2 changes on page 3, one for Jason, one for John. Just check me. I have a change on page 4, and I have another change on page 5. Does everybody agree? You have another one?
I just noticed this.
Okay.
The very last sentence, we could not have adjourned at 6:12 because we called it to order at 6:12.
No, we didn't.
It
We
was
called
a
it
4
a 4
o'clock.
o'clock meeting.
Well, then
No phone time.
oh, I'm sorry, it says 4 o'clock to 6:12.
Yes.
That was, I'm sorry, that was the one that was early.
Yeah.
I was mixing that up.
And you made it. We were so surprised
right,
that
I'm
you
sorry.
made it.
I was surprised too. You said you weren't gonna make it,
Yeah.
and I was like,
Okay, so there are
Here I
5.
am trying to be clever and.
Oh, see, it gets you in trouble every time.
I know.
Okay, so 5 changes. We're all in agreement, correct?
mhm.
Okay, great. All right, now.
We need I'll make a motion to
Yes,
amend the,
thank you.
amend the January 2nd meeting minutes as amended and discussed.
Wonderful. Second,
Second?
hello?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Great.
January 2nd. All done?
Okay,
All done with minutes?
yes, we're all done with minutes. Thank you.
Oh, the
Okay.
reason I was only asking about the recorders, cause I copied one of my, so that it was easy.
Oh, okay.
Do you see her? That lovely lady that?
Ann Cordy,
Yeah.
what do you have?
I just wanted to give her, make it easier on her and give her
But
this.
she's not doing it.
Oh,
You can
okay.
give it to Lene, okay.
Got it.
You didn't explain it to her.
We had Ann stay on for a while so that Lene could kind of get in the saddle and get, kind of the flow, but it's been really very hard with a lot of the minutes. She does stenography professionally, and it's a lot going on, and it was hard, and we got all the minutes on Monday, so, there was a lot of, some serious things happening in her family with death things and friends, so it's a little rough, so now we've made that transition, because this is part of Lene's responsibility, so if we have special projects, let's say we get a bunch of surveys that are handwritten, and then we could ask her to transcribe, but it's
So
just,
from henceforward, Lene's gonna do it.
it's all on Lene, so
Okay, so this
pay
is just,
attention and make your
this
corrections
is just
promptly.
one of the notes, so that makes it easier for you.
Thank you.
In case you
Okay,
didn't catch
thank
my
you.
correction on one of them.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, well, now we go to you, so maybe I'll take some notes a little bit, because Lene's up next with what we're doing.
Okay. So, in preparation for the public forum and having some materials to be posted on boards and handouts, I've been compiling the comments from various folks. Some folks on the committee submitted comments, and then I actually, Elodia reached out to people, but, people from the town.
I reached out to everybody, I looked at all the categories that we have to talk to, so obviously I reached out to Leo and Laurel, Laurel is our, how do you say it?
Conservation
Conservation
agent
agent
slash
slash planner, correct, thank you,
planner.
Maria. Leo's the chair, I know that Leo probably talked to his committee. For housing, we reached out to the Housing Authority, of course, had a wonderful conversation with Mike Lara. We reached out to the people on the Housing Partnership. I know that Steve sent it out. There's a little shadow process going on here that's a little bit difficult. I really would appreciate that when Lene and I are trying to do this and really coordinate. It's hard when other people start stumbling over the same people and it looks like we're a bit scattered, and replies start going in a lot of different places. So I would really like people, if you have suggestions that you say, have you thought of sending it to this person, please just ask us directly, because we really try to cover all the bases. Peter was nice enough to meet with Renee to talk about recreation needs, and then of course historical, Susan participated, Joyce Kelly participated, Marilyn Roach participated, they circulated, David Russo. So we really tried to reach out to all the areas, and then we also sat down with Laura Weiner, who knows a lot about the housing issues, et cetera, and Laurel.
I met with Gideon.
You met with Gideon.
Steve reviewed everything.
Yeah, so we're really covering our bases. I don't want you to think that we're not reaching out to all the appropriate people in town that may be touched by these things. And we're gonna talk about that a little bit further down the road, but go ahead, Lennon. Jason.
I have to be honest, I'm getting mixed messages though, because if we're all talking around the table about encouraging everyone to
Right.
reach out to everybody they know and canvass and get
Right.
the word out there. Your comment about not reaching, about like, being cautious about not badgering people or reaching out, multiple people reaching out to the same person.
The general
How do
public
we-
is one thing. When we're trying to, like, when Jen had said, call 10 people or reach out to 10 people that you know, that's a different story. I'm talking about critical members of committees, commissions, things like that. It was great that you reached out to Melissa Santucci, for
Well,
example.
and both boards for that matter.
What other board? I'm not sure.
Well, all of the planning board and all of the zoning board.
Okay, well, you're on the
Yeah.
planning board, so of course I would expect that you're talking to the
Right.
planning board, so that's a natural thing. I assume Maria would talk to her board. I mean, that's just a natural occurrence, but I'm saying when we're going through all the boards that we should be talking to, we're also reaching out to the chair of different things. I know you had that covered, but then we're also looking at any other key people in town government that we should be talking to do this to. When I'm talking about reaching out to the community, it's saying, okay, you all have email lists, friends in the school system, colleagues, whatever, people that you know. That's a different kind of story to sell people on what we're doing and why. There's a group of people that reached out to me that they're opposed to the CPA. And I said, you know what, if you have it, you can come and have a difference of opinion, but at least get informed. Because I don't think you know enough about it. And it is here, and you are a taxpayer, and you might as well kind of get informed and have a say in what's going on, you know? So that's what I was talking about. I hope that clarifies a
Well,
little
there's some
bit.
overlap, I think, between
There's a
your
little
group of
bit.
friends and your, people who are in
Your
official
colleagues,
capacities.
yes.
Yeah, so I reached out to all of them. If they got multiple notifications about the meeting, I don't think it's necessarily like a bad
Yeah, I
I
was
was
just gonna-
talking about notifications about the meeting, I was talking about the resource and needs profiles.
The profiles.
Getting comments back
Oh,
on.
Yeah, I thought there was a disconnect.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry,
Because I
thank
wasn't
you.
sure you were talking about the event, which you clearly wanted all of us to go
Yes,
to.
absolutely.
But
I'm
I
talking
had
about
a
the
feeling you were
profiles,
talking
excuse me.
about
okay.
something else.
I thought we were talking about the
No,
canvassing
because for
thing, but-
example, I send out emails and it goes from one hand to the other hand to the other hand. Before I know it, it's snowballed into this amorphous thing. And I'm not getting anything, and then I get it back and it's gone off to more people, and it was like, and who do I send it back to? Well, I think, I don't know about everybody else, maybe I've just had a warped relationship in my work life, but when you get a memo from the key person, whatever you gather, send it back to the key person that sent you the original memo. It's pretty clear to me. Okay, tell me I'm wrong.
No, I was confused because I thought you were referring to just
No,
like.
I'm talking about
publicizing
the outreach for the public forum is a different deal.
Yeah.
Thank
Claudia,
you.
I have a question about the outreach for the public forum, about the profile. So I sent for example.
Now you're mixing two things, John, though, I think,
Okay.
because you're talking about the profiles.
Yes, I thought that's what you were
I'm talking
saying.
about marketing the public forum to the community, which
Oh, no.
we're really great that we already have 80 people. Let me tell you, people are shocked.
Well, I'm sorry, going back a couple of paragraphs, I thought that you were saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, that in terms of I thought we were talking about the profiles.
We're gonna talk about the
I
profiles.
thought
in
we
this
were
one.
about to talk about the profiles.
Yes, we are, but then
and that-
wires got crossed, and so we're just clarifying.
Yeah, so going back to the profiles, I thought I heard you saying, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, that it created confusion if members of the board reached out to people to comment about the profiles, that you were suggesting that if we had people that we thought should comment about the profiles, that we should give you their names.
It'd be cleaner, because obviously we're trying to consolidate, and the memos were going off to lots of different people, and in 2 instances, I got something back that said, I didn't know who to send this back to, so I'm copying you on it. Well, hello, I initiated the information. And another person called me up and said, who am I supposed to be replying to? So I'm just saying, when it's something that is, what's the right word I'm looking for here? There's 2 kinds of outreach going on. One was to go to the key sources that would have information very pertinent to the profiles. The other one is reaching out to gather, to try to reach out all over the community to bring people together to come to this meeting. And we have some more information to update you on, but I don't want to distract from what Lene wants
So
to share.
can just that community profile is something we haven't received yet, that was not, so it's in progress right now.
Well,
So that.
we got late.
Yeah, we just got that recently. I did send that out though.
And was that in your last set of handouts?
That's the resource profiles, right?
Okay, I didn't clear through all of those.
If there are a lot
So
of
that was,
typos in it,
there were
Lorraine.
5, so there was, information about facilitation and community engagement.
Yes,
As well
facilitation
as
tips.
this overview and.
Okay,
Yeah.
now we're clear, so
Yeah.
that, if we can just be clear, that's the set of stuff we're talking about right now, the.
Well, actually, we were talking about the original set of resource and need, yes,
These
in the
things.
4
Right, there were
categories.
4.
Okay.
That's what I've been working on, compiling the comments for.
Okay, so I apologize, I don't know if January 16th at 5 PM is the deadline, but is it till today? Till the end of today? No?
Well,
If that ruffles feathers, fine, I have better photos for some things.
If you have
Um,
photos,
if you
please
have better
send those.
photos,
We
I
need
have a
them.
lot better photos
Yes.
and,
You need them for
a
everything.
couple of minor, but mostly it's photos for the open space and recreation. I have a much better photo for the stormwater management one.
yeah,
I
That'd be
have a
great.
good one for the Charles River with the Blue Heron footbridge and flowers in bloom.
yes,
Oh,
yeah,
beautiful,
definitely. Send me
definitely.
photos.
Marcia Serra provided a few photos,
And
Leo
I
provided
agreed,
one of
I
Walker's
agreed
Pond.
that, I just didn't send it yet, that I don't want Solon's Pond. That's
Right.
No, it should be Walker Pond,
Okay,
Solomons Pond, and Peter also mentioned when, with
so
the.
I'm sorry, it was only 2 weeks. I had a family visit to my parents in another state, and so it's, I just
That-
didn't get to it.
That's fine, I think that probably going through Leo and Laurel and, all the folks that we reached out to, I think, that's already been addressed. We're
Okay.
getting rid of Solomons Pond, and if you have photos, definitely send them.
Please,
Because we
please,
also
if you-
need photos for Bang the Table,
Okay.
so if you have good photos that are representative of that.
Yeah, I probably have, and I have a good view of the view from the tower at Mount Auburn Cemetery.
cool.
So,
Great.
yeah, those are nice. So
Yeah,
I'll
if you
send
have
you
some
3 or
Susan.
4 photos.
Great.
That's great.
More is better because
You can
Lene
pick.
and I spent an afternoon trying to look through pictures, which are not well organized in the community, and they're all in all different files, and again, I'm just sitting there going, okay? Just so, Peter, I just wanna add in here, he asked that we switch out Salt and Skull and put in Arsenal Park, so we're going to do that as well. But, was to say, okay, give us your take, what are we missing, what changes do we wanna make?
Philipello.
Philipello, excuse me, I have
Arsenal
Arsenal,
Park.
Philipello,
Yeah.
so we're gonna switch that out as well.
Madam Chair, when you mentioned Peter's name, does everybody here know that this is
Oh.
Recreation Director Peter Satola?
Leave everybody know, Peter.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
Thanks.
Susan,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. So,
all right,
just,
Coach.
and just so Maria, just to reiterate on this other thing, these just came out, we got these very quickly. I have a lot of comments on them because there were so many typos.
These revised or what?
No,
these
I
are-
don't know if you saw these.
These went out with the facilitation, community engagement.
This is the summary of your.
Oh, I see, this
Yes.
is, no, I
Yeah.
didn't see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, those need some
You can
improvement
pass
as
that
well.
around if you have.
Just if I may interject for a second, Lene and I met with Jen Goldson last week, and as you all know, I know some people think I badger and I'm hard driving, but I really keep looking at the big picture and where we need to get to and how much time we have. And I like to know ahead of time what the expectations are, that they need information from us, not 2 days before we need some photos. And a lot of it has been rolling in the way that all of a sudden we get this, but we need it by, 2 days from now. And, I said, look, I don't control the town, for sure, I don't have control over certain issues, we don't have access to a lot of things, and it would be much better for Lene and for me if we had a list of, these are the things we're going to need to take care of these things so that we can look down that list and say, where can we source these things as quickly as possible? I put things out to people on Facebook who are great photographers in town, asking for photos. I mean, this is just, I don't know, I operate in a different way and it's really hard. So I'm just saying, if you have photos, send whatever you have that you like, because then we'll start to build a bank for our CPC, which is important.
Have photos?
I can find them.
Okay, so continue with what you're doing.
So basically, it's important to, make sure the information on these sheets is factual and, all the comments about presenting it in a, more user-friendly way. There were a lot of numbers and figures. I really liked your comments about presenting some of the demographic information in a graph that could compile
Yeah,
a
that was a
lot
good
of.
comment,
Yeah,
Mark.
it was very good. So I've submitted those to Jen Goldson, and I will, once you send me those photos, Maria, I'll send those off as well.
Sure. I was curious about that too. Someone is checking the numbers on here, because I don't know the real figure, but someone at least is checking that the numbers are accurate.
Well, just my fault, was there's too many numbers, it's overwhelming, I'm a numbers guy, and it's just.
And again,
And they weren't, some of them weren't all that relevant to the central questions, yeah.
right, and you're right, Mark, and we're not here to say what Watertown, what we aspire to. This is a profile of where we are right now and gathering our community together and doing our survey and all those things. Is this what we aspire to do for Watertown? I think that's really important change to make. And what's the other thing I wanted to add that was driving me crazy? Oh, I got comments from some people that was a rundown of comments, I don't like this, I don't like that. Well, that doesn't really help.
Right.
Okay, I like specifics of, I find this too long, or, oh, I don't agree with these numbers. Well, okay, I am not going to be the person who's going to research everything in Macris to know, by the way, it should be 6, if, depending how you count properties.
But that was,
Yes,
that
but
was over the top.
but this keeps going on again and again. So if you're on a commission, I beg you that your commission is looking at something, or your committee, and you gather up the facts, make sure the person who's complaining about something checks the facts. Because I'm not everybody's secretary, and neither is Lene. There's a lot of work that we're doing that is just, impossible to keep getting done. So I just really want to reiterate that. Keep going.
Well, I think that's it on the profiles. I don't know how long it will take for them to turn around and produce a corrected version or the
And
edited
obviously, we'd
version.
all like to see that before we go public,
Yes.
as quickly as
Yeah,
possible,
well,
given.
we'll definitely get to see it before.
So
it
the
goes public.
question, I'll ask Lene about historic afterwards, after the meeting. 'Cause I-
Well, if you have a quick question now.
No,
go ahead.
it's a long question,
A long question?
a longish question.
Okay.
You talked, well, I guess my big question is, you talked to David, you talked to Joyce, you talked,
I talked to everybody, they all sent their comments in on one sheet, which was helpful.
okay,
Yes.
so this is set, except for the photos? No
Yes.
photos?
Well, if you have photos, send them.
Well, I know that David and
They
Joyce
did not
do.
send
They didn't
photos.
send
I'll
photos.
take care of the
They-
photos.
They
Okay.
had an embedded version with just comments in it. They didn't change any
Okay,
photos.
all right, so, fine, I'll
Okay.
take care of that.
Thank you, photos would be great. John?
A question looking forward, so these will get somewhat revised for our public forum. I noticed in Chelsea's community preservation plan that there are, the Chelsea version of these things, same format, same headings and so on. And so I just want to check an assumption that I have, which is that the way that these are presented at this public forum number 1 is not necessarily the final version of them, that they will evolve as we get more information, and that what gets put in the plan may not be, what we're
Exactly,
looking
John.
at.
I agree with you. I think they will evolve a little bit more, even when we sent the survey back to Jen Goldson, the final survey, which I thought was the final survey. And then we got more comments, no comment there. And then Jen sent back the survey that she gave us, and she had rewritten her own work. So, and we all do that. If you're, you evolve, you think about things differently over time, and I think it was tighter, so it was fine. I wrote an email to her saying, we would all like a copy of the final survey, because given your comment, Maria, about putting it more positively, I'd like to see that issue. I'd like to see it. Do you know what I mean? Before it goes
release it.
public, yes. I think, I know I sound like a taskmaster, but sorry, that's what I am in this case. So yes, we want to see that before it does go public.
So just,
Now,
Yes,
So, my understanding of these resource and needs things are gonna be handed out or available during our first public forum. And that sets the context for people who come in to have a common understanding what our
Some of
resources
the
and needs
things,
are.
yes,
There's a
Mark.
common basis of discussion and common understanding of where we are.
So is that correct, these will be handouts?
I don't know if there'll be handouts, they may be on big boards, because we are now going to the open house style. And, that's a good question that we're gonna follow up on, because sometimes it's easier just to quickly do the big board. I don't know if anybody went to both of the art meetings, the public art meetings. The first one was done as more of this open house kind of style, and the second meeting was done at the library in the small tables. There were about 11 people at each table. It was a little bit noisy. My table was particularly crowded, and they upended crosses, which was pretty funny, but they didn't want to deal public art, they just wanted to talk art. But, we're gonna feel our way through this stuff, and we can recalibrate all the time. We just have to stay very positive and stay on task. And you wanna bring up the,
I do.
okay,
I,
I'm reading your mind.
well, yeah, just, in preparation for the public forum, we, Elodia and I went to Jen's office and we taped, like a public service announcement.
I sent you all the video that we
Yeah.
did,
Yeah.
we're all
Very
rock
nice.
stars.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and we now have some roles that the new members can play during the forum, and I have a sign-up sheet. So there are,
Well, looking forward to this, I can tell.
so
Is
we,
Wonder Woman one of the roles?
Thanks, Lodi already took that one.
No,
so
that's my husband's
I'll be
nickname
that
for
man.
me.
we'll be needing 2 greeters to work for, greeting folks as they come in and sign in and give out name tags. We'll also need a person at a CPA overview and introduction station. We'll need folks at the stations for the 4 categories for housing, preservation, open space, recreation, and then kind of the overall catch-all needs and priority station. So,
I volunteer for the historic.
Wow, how delightful, Susan, thank you.
I would love either the intro one or, obviously, I probably should do the open space one.
well, Laurel has volunteered to do
Oh.
open space, so
Oh, okay.
we need 1 to 2 people there, so if you wanted to start off as a
Or I could be a
greeter
greeter,
and flow, yeah.
Well, you could, people are coming in initially, but once we
That's a
get
great
going, I think you should flow to open
Yeah, that's a great
space, because
idea.
Laurel's too new, Maria.
You're right. So I can greet and then,
And then move over,
how long
because
do you have
once
to
we do
greet?
the opening, that Jen does the opening, then you can move over and go to open space.
I would think it'd be the first maybe 20 minutes to a half an hour. Folks arrive early and then up until the presentation
Gotcha,
begins.
okay.
Yeah.
That's perfect for me then.
Great, John?
I could do the CPA overview station, or I could do the catch-all needs and priorities
Well,
station.
what would you like to do?
The overview station.
Okay,
Hopefully, I might know what I'm talking about.
I could do the recreation.
I'll do the housing.
okay, so Alan's gonna do housing, Bob's gonna do rec,
I do the rec too, actually, if there's
Okay.
room for 2.
You have to, yeah.
Mark?
I can help on housing, not much about it, but I think we need
Okay.
some people there.
Okay, so wait a minute, I've got, Mark's doing
Dennis.
housing. Who else, did somebody else say housing? Am I hallucinating here?
Mark said housing. Oh, Alan said housing.
Alan and Mark.
She's asking if somebody else
Okay,
did
okay,
also.
Alan, okay, great, Alan, thank you.
Dennis, will you be at the?
I'll be there, I was gonna go for open space, since that's something I've been involved in.
Well, that's true, so
50
Maria, you
years.
wanna switch up to something, or
Well, I see you're using, what do they call that? A
cane?
Oh. You look like the kind of guy that speaks softly and carries a big stick.
No, I speak very loudly and carry a big stick.
So I'm wondering if you would be comfortable standing the whole time. So maybe we could all be on that, I don't know, or wherever your needs are.
Yeah, there could be more than one, right?
Yeah, I
At
could
each
float.
station?
No, she wants 1 to 2.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there a
Jason, you're
station
doing
that
rec,
only
right?
has one person?
But the backup, I could be a greeter if someone else was interested in doing rec, so.
Okay,
You wanna do rec? I would like to be on my own boards thing.
on your what?
I would like to be on the open space since
Yeah.
that's my commission.
Yeah, I know,
But he's also asking that.
Okay, well, you wanna shoot for it or have a duel?
I don't know.
She can do it now, float around.
Okay, well, all right,
Next.
well, at least we've got some things
Yes,
covered
going
here.
greeting, I'll take greeting.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
This format sort of prevents us as committee members from wandering around and seeing what other people say at the various tables, is that correct?
There won't be,
Well, there'll be stations,
Yeah,
but people will be going from station to station.
but we will be fixed at our station. So
Well,
that, therefore I won't understand what people are saying at historic preservation. or
but we're
open space
taking
reference.
notes on all these
Yeah.
things. Oh, I'm sorry, you were not here the last time, I apologize, Mark. There are gonna be
No,
questions.
I understand.
Okay,
thing.
you understand the format, yeah.
But the format is that Bob will be at recreation, so Bob will not be able to hear what people say at housing, because you get at recreation.
Right, but it would be the same way in the small
In the
group
group,
format.
you're
You
in the
didn't
same
say
would,
it.
station.
okay, it would,
Right.
okay. There'd never be an opportunity to sort of rotate around.
No.
the purpose of having a consultant help us do this is that hopefully whatever instructions they give us, Post-it notes or whatever
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
gonna be taking notes on, they gather all that
Mhm.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
synthesize
They
it for
do.
us.
Okay, okay.
So all of that synthesis and collaboration we would do afterwards,
Yeah,
or
I just
digesting rather.
feel
'Cause even in the
deprived a little bit of the sense of what the community.
Well, I'm happy to, I can float to
Well-
anything, so I can spot and take, if you wanna go float, you just wave me down and I'll come over
Okay.
and
Well,
let you go.
We don't have anyone for catch-all needs and
Well,
priorities.
that's what I was saying, maybe
Dennis,
if
you
you were
want-
at
I'll
catch-all.
go on the prime rib table.
You wanna do catch-all needs?
Sure, I don't care, I'll do anything.
Catch all.
You're talking about are you talking about the last one, Lene, number?
Yes.
Okay, right.
So what's
okay.
that?
What do you anticipate it will be?
So that's a station where there's going to be some interactive activity, like the pom-pom jar or the mapping. Oh, Maria's like,
I'm getting old. No, Dennis, you can have open space. She's not finished.
Oh, listen,
Sorry.
The 3 coins up in my car, something, okay.
Oh, never mind, sorry. I can be like a kid sometimes, I don't get out enough.
Okay, she's dumping that.
No, I can do either, Put me wherever you need me, that
All right,
would
you
be-
put me, you're gonna put me wherever you need me and I'll float.
yeah, there's.
And it was suggested that I think we should be there at 6:30. Some people like to come early to hang out. I want to talk about the new security thing because I'll be posting that everywhere. We went back with Barbara, Lene and I went Wednesday to meet with Barbara Redmond over at Tufts. They are going to open up the back door that people will not have to go through the normal security unless they're like Dennis or unless somebody needs a wheelchair.
That-
They can't do
yeah.
stairs, they can't get in this entrance. But this lifts a huge burden, because I got calls from people saying, I don't wanna register, I don't wanna give out my
Yeah,
email address.
yeah,
This was not the committee doing this was Tufts' request,
Yeah, yeah.
because we're going into a private company. They've given us the Atlantic room, it's a wonderful room, it's super spacious, they've already given it to us for our April meeting as well. We're talking setup and everything, but this way people can come right in the back door, there are bathrooms right there, they're gonna cut everything off. So I'll post that for those that were reluctant to come, you're all invited, you don't have to register, you may not get a cookie or a bag of potato chips, cause it'll run out within the first 20 minutes, whatever they're doing, but.
What about, I do love the idea of names badges,
Yes.
because it helps with.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Those will be there, but before you would have to go into Tufts, you actually have to show a license, et cetera, for
Okay.
security.
They would
That's,
print it
But we're
out.
still gonna get name badges?
Yes.
And they're doing that for free for us?
well, they could do it for the registrations, but here we can hand do it, but it's, there you'd have to show your when we go in, we have to show our license, now they know us, they print them up ahead of time.
Mhm.
That was the whole registration process, they could print faster, so we could just check people off as they came in. So the security level has been lightened, the protocol, because they're all gonna come in one door, and they can't get anywhere else in the building.
Okay, I have another question, do
Okay.
we need to man the registration table?
No,
They do that?
well, I don't think we have a registration table, well,
Well,
there's
it's
reader
gonna be
registration, sign in and name
registrations,
tags,
right,
yes.
so,
I'll do that, Dennis and I can do that together, because we know everybody in town anyway.
I also,
I'm the one
Yeah.
that died.
Yeah, we should definitely have somebody there, so that
Yeah.
if there's any, I don't know, it's just 3 people sometimes, if a
Yeah,
lot of
it's
people.
faster, you wanna move people
right,
through.
and they also will have probably all their stuff there,
Right.
so that's another
I
4
want
or
to ask
5
a
people.
question about the Goldson's staff, what are they gonna do? I mean, they're gonna present something at the very beginning, they said, but in terms of these stations, are they gonna be staffing these stations at all?
They're not going to staff the stations, they're going to be floating. If someone has a question that you can't answer, you can call them over to assist with that. And, they'll be listening to what's going on and taking notes.
And
so
just
to speak.
remember, I know some people are very nervous that they don't have the answer to the question. We don't have to have all the answers to the question. We are all coming from the same place of this is something very new for Watertown. It's complicated, it's new for everybody, and we're all learning. And if somebody stumps you with a question, just say, hey, great question. I don't know, I'm gonna write it down and we're gonna find out. And we have another forum coming up in April, and we're gonna have answers, and we're gonna have bang the table. And these questions will go out there so other people can find out too.
That just reminded me, because when we do fairs and festivals, it's nice, and we don't always remember to do it, but our admin person for the Conservation Commission gave us a sheet with like name and email. So if we could have at each station a blank piece of paper, or like just in case you get stumped on something, you have a piece of paper right there already at that station with name, question, and follow-up contact information, email or phone number. As a suggestion.
That's a great idea.
Possible, if just, and they don't need to see it, they don't need to sign in, but it's like if you can't answer a question like that. That way it's all collected together
Mm-hmm.
to,
I'm just gonna say, talk to Alan.
Yeah.
or we don't do it at all, I don't know, but, or you could do it on a Post-it note, just something I thought of when you were talking.
They're gonna be Post-it notes, so those questions can go right on there as typical questions that have been asked that
Well,
we don't
then,
know.
if, maybe just ask Goldson if they think that's necessary, if not,
Okay.
then don't worry about it.
So, let me just, so you're asking for,
What, a notepad, or
I'm
just a
asking
white
like-
line pad of paper at every station?
No, well, you don't need that, it's like a sheet that just, like, if somebody stumps you on a question that you
Mhm.
can't answer, you can take notes bigger than on a Post-it note.
I see.
So it's like I can send you an example, or, it was, Susan Jenis that did it for the Conservation Commission.
But
just had-
Maria, may I ask you a question? Are you looking then to respond to that person with the answer, or are you just looking to gather the information about the question?
Well,
It's a reminder to respond,
Right,
and who
so-
responds, we
yeah,
can
I mean-
decide later.
Yeah, because I don't think we wanna create a system that now we're gonna be responding to 80 questions individually. I think this is
No.
the stuff we wanna drive to the website for Bang the Table and say, first public forum, these were questions that were raised, and then put the answers on there.
Maybe it's not necessary, I mean, we used it as a recruiting tool too, like if it was anyone that was interested in learning more about the
Concom.
Conservation Commission, and we were down 2 members at that point,
Mhm.
so we were using it as like for multiple things, so maybe it's not
All right,
necessary.
we'll kick that around a little bit, I think.
Right, because one of the things, there's going to be a report back. The people who are working at the stations will kind of collect those Post-its, and if there's similar responses, they'll put them all together and then report back on what they heard at their station. And then I think Jen will also open it up if there are any questions
At the end.
taken at that.
At the end, we're gonna come back, there's
she'll
gonna be a
answer them.
report from
Then
every
if
station.
that's the format, I don't think you need them.
There'll be a report at the end, so that'll be the closing ceremony, so to
It's a
speak.
2-hour event, right?
Yes.
2 hours, we can go a little bit over 2 hours, Mark, whatever we're doing at Tufts, they're good with that. So, they've been very accommodating
Yeah.
with all that, so,
I have
sorry,
another layout, sorry.
sorry, Al, go
Just a
ahead.
basic logistical question. I've been to the Tufts building numerous times. I've always entered from the front door. When
This
you
is
say
the-
the rear, do you still enter off of
You
Mount
go
Auburn
off
Street?
of Grove Street.
Oh, off of Grove Street,
If-
and then you're in the back of the building.
Well, if you,
Okay. I've never been to the
all
back.
right, if you
so-
came to the front of the building and you park to the right
Right,
side.
yes, that's what I
okay,
usually do.
If you park on the right side, just walk down, there's
Walk
going to be
down.
signage and the
Okay.
door's on the left,
Oh,
it's
there
the
will.
double door.
I got it.
If you come in to park
I got
from
it.
the Grove
Grove
Street,
Street,
we're gonna have signage
Yes.
there as well, and they're gonna
That's
put
fine.
on extra security just to direct
I
people.
got it.
And we
Yep.
can park
Can
in
you
the
go-
parking lot?
It's all
Park
free
in the
parking there, yes.
Okay.
You can go in either door?
There's only, no, we're only, it's going to be the side door that is open. If you go through the front door, you're gonna have to go through security, and we wanna direct everybody to the side
Side door,
entrance.
towards the rear of the building?
Yeah, towards the rear, kind of
Towards the
like
rear.
if you came in from Grove and you have the
Yes.
parking lot there, or you can go in the garage.
Then there'll be
for parking.
signage, okay,
Yes, and there's gonna,
good.
what?
Would it make sense to have somebody, rain or shine, just, we can take turns being outside to make sure people find the right door?
Well, they're also gonna have security for us, they're putting extra
Okay.
security out, so I think we should be okay. But if we run into a problem, we'll snag somebody and we'll do that. Somebody else, somebody had a question? I'm sorry, Bob.
We are gonna do the report out then, right?
Yes,
At
there's
the
a
end.
report out
Jan's
at the
going
end,
to.
yes.
So at that point, we could introduce the questions. We have-
Sure, or, you know, one of the key
Yeah.
questions that kept
Yeah.
coming up was this, sure, sure.
Oh, okay. And that was in a recent email that you sent, right?
Well, yeah, the one with the community, it had 5 attachments.
Yeah.
Lodi, is there going to be a small table at the, at each station?
There are tables at every
At
station,
every
yes,
station, okay.
yes. And they only have round tables, unfortunately Tufts does not have rectangular tables, they're all rounds. So, but we'll work it, you know.
So there will be, I'm envisioning, part of the room is set up like, theater style, or like chairs in rows, right, for the presentation, and then there's gonna be the
Round
tables?
tables.
Is that how it will be, so
Yes.
that you mingle in one open area with the round tables, you get a snack, and then you get ready to sit down in the rows of, right?
Yes, the way the format that Barbara showed us, because they had a meeting going on when we were there, they put some mics along the middle so people could go up and ask questions later on. But they had kind of, like you say, Maria, just seating in the center and then tables all the way around with seats as well, but they were having a meeting. And then they had a snack table outside in the other lobby towards their office space. We don't wanna do that, we wanna contain the group. So, the suggestion that we've made to Goldson is that the tables go across the back of the room for whatever snacks they're having. It's also to contain trash, because they had a huge meeting going on the next day, a major meeting, so we don't really want trash going everywhere. You know, we wanna be very good guests, because they're letting us come back, and I wanna be sure we can, so.
And it's just round tables, that's odd.
I know, that's all they have in that particular room, I guess. Well, it's more gezellig, you know, it's nicer to sit at a round table with people in a way.
But serving's better rectangular.
Well,
Right.
they use the outer table, and it's almost like a cabinet counter
Oh.
that they use for serving, but we're just, you know, keeping everything in one room.
They must have had 300 people at least in that room.
Yeah, it
More
was-
than that, I would say. It was
yeah.
big, it was packed. It's a big room. They have all the on-screen projectors on the wall and all that stuff, so. There's a lot of possibilities there. Have you covered everything that you need, Lene?
Yes.
Okay, so now let's get on to the next thing. We received an invoice from Jen Goldson. This was another little fun thing. On December 26th, I received an invoice for, I think Lene has copies for all of you if you'd like to pass those out, for $93.50, saying, you know, you haven't paid your bill, because my concern was we want the survey done, and it would be really great at the same time that the survey's ready to go, that Bang the Table is up, right? That it's all done so that people get to the end of the survey and they say, for more information about what we're doing, go to our website, Bang the Table. You don't have enough about it?
There's enough, I
Okay.
just was passing.
Okay.
Both directions.
And that's when I got this thing about that we did not, we were overdue on our bill. Well, this was fun, because, this said, this is on the 26th, hi, Lene and Elodie, I'm cleaning up accounts for the year, I show this is outstanding, thank you for checking into it, I've never seen it. And the bill said to the town of Watertown, no person, no department, no nothing, okay? Okay.
We could give it to Peter.
Yeah, Peter, here you go, here's our bill, Peter. So I wrote back, of course, saying, could you please tell me who this was sent to? Okay, yes, we haven't met, this is the first time I've seen the bill.
Project, community preservation plan, you would think somebody might put 2 and 2?
No, please don't think those things happen.
Oh, no, I know they do, I work in a big city, they definitely, this could fall into an abyss and
Right,
come out
well,
a year
okay.
later.
So I said, I'm puzzled, this invoice is dated 11/12, first invoice I've seen, can you tell me who this was sent to originally? Like to find out where the hiccup occurred. When Jen and I discussed billing, which I spent a long time on because I've been on the other side of the table, I said, please, I hate it when you're working hard for somebody and they're not paying you, that's the worst. So when you have a bill, I asked her process, how she bills out, and I said, please, we didn't have Lene at the time, please be sure you can send the bill to me, I'll review it with the committee, we'll get it processed promptly. So this wasn't going down this way, and I spent a lot of time on this again. So I explained that Lene had just started on the 9th, that she's only here 3.5 days a week. Going forward, please send all the invoices to her, we'll review them against the scope of work, et cetera, et cetera. We've had a very bumpy start with J.M. Goldson. We've had to hit the pause button regarding the flyer, regarding Bang the Table, the survey, the first public forum. I would like things to get cleaned up. So that was this.
What date was that?
That date, I sent this on December 27th because I got this bill on the 26th. I got no answer again. I kept saying, oh, well, there's a part-time bookkeeper, she's no longer here. I still need to know who this was sent to because I went to Tom at the inaugural and I said, Tom, how do I track a bill? Because, you know, they're not gonna cut a check if they don't know where the bill is. And he said, well, first we have to see if it ever came in, and Goldson is still not telling me who they sent it to. So I kept pressing and pressing, and finally they said, oh, we sent it to Gideon. Okay, well, Gideon was out a lot during November and December. I finally got to Gideon on January 6th. I got this final reply from them on the 3rd that they had sent an email to Gideon, which was dated when he looked at 11/26, which he kind of, I guess he didn't see it, or it got, he's, you know, had a lot going on with planning. So I called them and I said, well, you know, this is kind of a mess because I went to Tom and say, how quickly, once we all looked at this and go through this, can we cut a check? So I'm hoping that the check could be cut next week by Thursday because we want this all to lift off. So I'm just giving you the lowdown on the behind the scenes look of how many things we have to chase down in town. And I have all my dates here. And now the treasurer has left, so I think that might have complicated things a little bit. But at least now we know where the bill went. Tom said we have to make sure it's not in progress because we're not gonna pay it twice, so that's the lowdown. So I was, when I did meet with the Goldson Group, I said, quite frankly, if I had received this bill on 11/26, I would not have brought it to the committee for authorization because I really didn't think work was up to snuff and I don't think we were getting what we're paid for. But since we had the meeting and now we have the profiles, et cetera, and we as a committee have straightened things out, we have our quote-unquote logo and we're moving forward, I feel comfortable doing this, so I'm looking for your feedback and opinion.
Okay, going forward, do they have a correct mailing address? I mean, you just can't mail it to the town of Watertown.
I
It's
think
it's
I've
gonna be
made-
down in the mailroom downstairs.
I think I've made my point, Alan, I make a lot of points, as you
Attention,
know.
somebody.
Yes.
Well, did it go
Yeah.
via email? You were saying it was email though.
That's what we were told, Maria.
Oh, okay, yeah, so it
But-
wasn't mailed, it was emailed.
Or email.
And it's just
But-
still,
And they said they emailed it to Gideon.
Well, no, they didn't until I didn't find that out until January
Oh,
3rd.
well, all I'm saying is do they have the correct information? We're gonna
Oh,
send
well, they had it in the
bills.
first place.
Okay.
So it's just,
but they're gonna, in the future,
goes
send
to
it
Lene.
to Lene, okay?
Okay.
And then, I'm fine with this bill, but I
Okay.
don't think that, I'm open to discussion, but I don't know if we need to always go through the bills each time?
No, we don't, but this was
Okay.
the first one, there were a lot of hiccups, and I just, as Tom said, you know, we already authorized the spending of the budget, but I think we're a team, and we should all know what they're billing us, and kind of where does it stand, are we in agreement that the work is up to our expectations for what we're paying right now? And, you know, I just, you know, we're still in startup phase. And I just think the more information we all have that we're comfortable with it, the better it is.
So remind me, it was like a $60,000 we
It's
authorized?
in total, we authorized $60,000.
So
Some of
this-
it was extra, there was about $10,000 or so extra in there as play if we needed it. But they did not do a logo for us, that was gonna be $1,600. You know, there are other things that we've taken care of. Mark, go ahead, that's a
Yeah,
very
so
nice
this does
hand
not
raising.
include, this does not include a preliminary payment for Bang the Table.
Well,
No.
Yeah, cause she did say that at the last at her pro bono meeting, that she needs, in order to get that up to
Yes,
snuff,
it's the top,
Yeah,
the
Wayne
Land Foundation,
plus.
yes,
Plus
bank
bank
and
table
table
subscription.
subscription,
right,
So
Yeah,
that's
it does
to get them-
included in this contractual amount,
right,
it is,
okay.
yeah.
yes.
But not in this payment.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Oh, 9,000 of it at
Phase
52.
A portion of it,
A
yes.
portion of it.
Portion
Yes.
of the nine.
Because I remember it was 10,000.
It was $10,000,
Yeah.
correct.
Okay.
So, everybody's comfortable with this?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, John.
I agree that I don't necessarily need to see, every bill, but in terms of how they're formatting their bill, I can't tell if they've done all of these things that are listed in phase one, or if these are all the phase one activities, which would cost $17,000.
So they give a percentage,
They give a percentage of phase one,
percent
John.
complete, that's
Okay,
what
so-
they're saying. That's pretty common. They'll have a task and you'll say the percentage complete, and
Right.
it's really up to Lene and I would say the chair to decide whether that percentage reflects the level of effort given.
And as I said, I would have said no a couple of weeks ago, because if you go back, it was draft the community survey, do the CPC survey, the work plan, the engagement plan, revise the survey, there were all this whole laying the foundation, draft the resource profiles. At 11/26, what have we had? We had one meeting at the commander's mansion. Okay, so, if we're good to go on this, if the committee says, no, we're good, we trust you, you and Lene talk about it, or the next chair talks about it, that's fine, but I felt this was our first go-round. I wanted to say, again, some problems in getting going on this, and I wanna be completely transparent of what's happening.
Yeah, thank you.
That's good.
Okay,
Thank you.
I think we should continue to see these bills, actually.
I would agree with you, Mark, because I
I mean,
think,
not the 500 or, but,
Yeah,
major
right,
ones like
but
this,
the-
yes.
yeah.
I don't think it hurts.
Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't hurt, we're all informed then.
I would just add though that, if it's time sensitive and you can
No,
elongate.
yeah,
So if they get a bill the day after our meeting,
yeah.
you don't wanna wait a month
Months, yeah.
to
yeah.
present it to us, then it's gonna take the town about
Another month.
yes, to pay
Another
it.
year.
So I would say they could always share it with us.
Yeah.
Of course,
That
we always would do
You
that.
could share it after you make a decision, so,
But I'm just saying, this wasn't on us,
right.
this
No,
delay.
you made, that
And
makes
so
sense,
my
yeah.
concern really is that this can get out, because we go online, we do our, Broadway opening on the 29th. And again, I apologize that, I was hoping that Tom was gonna be able to give us an update, but clearly it didn't come together. I believe he told you he was also waiting for some interest calculations, but given that the treasurer is left and, Alan's sister's dialing us up,
She's on vacation, wait till July?
No, she's only up until next week.
So, but
That's fine.
we will keep pressing on this. So the big thing tonight, that we really need to focus on, because I went around talking to people, and when I was putting out the flyers, well, there's two things that I learned about this town. One, and I think Maria, you alluded to some of the places that you went, that people wouldn't put up a flyer.
They didn't
They
feel
wouldn't allow
comfortable,
you to,
they wouldn't
correct,
allow me
yeah.
to, or it was too small of a business.
Which is,
Or one of the answers was, at Uncommon Ground, that if he did it for one group, he would have to do it for all.
yeah, well, which
Groups
is
that
really
ask.
funny to me, because they pay taxes in town, and this is implications for them, where I went in, Dennis went into Town Diner, but I went in there too, and they saw I had the laminated one, they said, well, I want yours, so we took the paper one down.
You don't wanna do that, that's wrong.
Of course, I went to a lot of people, and I've done events in other communities, and that really astonished me, so I was again thinking, what can we do differently the next time around? And I was gonna talk to Bob about this, but the big sandwich boards that you have in the town square, now I know there, and if somebody remembers what the fight was in town, there was a big argument about putting those up anywhere. And I can't remember if it was they didn't want every little organization, but we're attached to the town. And I think do you know the argument, Dennis?
No, but I think part of the problem that I found, which may relate to your situation, is they don't know we're a town board, we're part of the town.
Right,
They
exactly.
think you're a club or
Yes,
just some non-profit, they don't really know.
Oh,
I
that's
think it gets
interesting.
confusing.
because I really had to explain
I
to
did
people
too.
everything, and they're like, huh? So, and then, of course, Bruce has been in sales and marketing for years, and he goes, you gotta break through this town, and the best place to do it is, if we could get those sandwich boards, because we are a town agency, quote unquote, you used that word at one point, Mark, that we could get our big logo on this, and then we would have something that we could put on boldly, for each event that we do, or things that we're doing, that we could constantly update it. And I went around, Peter probably has looked in his parks, I was looking for places to take things up to demonstrate what we're
I thought
doing.
Bob was doing the parks.
He did some of them, but I went to the kiddie parks and I did the trash cans, because all the younger folks in town are there with their kids, and so that was another vehicle. I covered the Hatch, I covered the Brigham House and all those things. But it was just, I'm thinking, where can we find the different pockets in town? So, 522 Main Street, all these things. But I'm thinking, the town really needs a great covered kiosk, like you were talking about for Concom at Whitney Hill. Those should be in every park for town-related activities that are important, because this is where people gather. It was a beautiful weekend.
Part of that problem is vandalism.
Oh, come on. We don't have any
We're gonna
vandalism
find
at
out.
Victory Field. That ugly old thing got repainted. Nobody's done graffiti on it.
So I love that idea, and I'll tell you a couple of reasons why, because I care about the open space in the parks, and it's hard to remember to come back and pick up those signs.
Right.
So they end up sometimes as litter, or they're, you just forget. It's like the ones that people, lost
The
dog
yard
and
sales,
kitten,
yeah.
yeah,
Right.
the yard sale ones, and they just stay on, or people rip them off and throw them on the ground. So I love the idea of thinking a little more broadly, and I can happily explain to you what we do in Newton with the sandwich. We use sandwich boards for everything.
Everything. 'Cause
And they are easy. The thing is that you just get a blank sandwich board, they're white, or you can get a color. And then what you do is you have to be able to have access to, which I think Gideon does, the big plotter machines. And you just print out your large plan size information, and then you gotta laminate it. So you have to have a big
Bob did
laminator.
that for us over
But you have
at
to have a
DPW.
very big
Big one.
laminator.
But if we had the logo permanently on the sandwich board, you know what I mean?
Right.
I just
I
kinda-
don't
I
think
would-
that's necessary, because you're only gonna need it for a certain time, two or three times.
Well, I don't know, I'm just kicking it out there, because I found this town is very constipated in my mind of supporting such a major community undertaking. I was really kind of blown away by the kind of, if I do it for you, I gotta do it for somebody else. I'm thinking, wait a minute, you pay taxes, I'm explaining all this. It was just kind of weird.
Well,
Yeah, I think the sandwich, I like the sandwich board
Okay,
idea,
so I
but
think we
like
should
a plain
explore it.
one that,
Alright, well-
cause I don't think you can put anything.
I wanna find out, there was a schism in the town about it. I think we should look into it for the future.
There are also some things, and I haven't paid a lot of attention to them, that Staples can do, creative ways of making display information.
Well, like I wanted to do a banner for Fair in the Square, but nobody wanted to do Fair in the Square, so, yeah.
The two ways to get
Yeah.
constant attention are a sandwich board
Yes.
or the flashing, they're message boards, and we use those, the marathon route, I mean,
Yeah.
cause you
Right,
live
we
there,
have
Bob.
those though in
you know.
town.
Yeah.
So,
They use them for the recycling events.
yeah, the big bright
So I don't know
cycle.
what the protocol is to get
Oh.
your event on that flashing.
Well,
They
maybe
put it
you
down
can
here
look
in the
into
square.
that
I'll
for us
find
a
out.
little bit, but we just
That's
have
a
to get,
big
Yeah.
thing.
we gotta
but-
get more creative, that's all I
But
can
those
say.
those are the ways I think we should be thinking for the second one,
Yeah.
because
Yeah, that's what I'm
um,
saying, cause
I
this
think
was
it-
really tough.
it was, I mean,
And I've done-
I did not really enjoy going into the bathroom in the Dunkin' Donuts.
Well, I did use a little guerrilla marketing technique, because I did go to the Mosesian Center, and this stunned me as well, because they're a historical building. And I won't say who I spoke to, and it was like, oh, we don't have a community board. And I said, well, you have the area where you have the wine and everything, why couldn't you just post it where people are waiting in line, getting aggravated, and post it there, it would be clearly seen. Oh, no, we don't do that. I said, how about the back of the bathroom door, because everybody's using the facilities, the men's room, the women's room, no, and I thought, oh God, this is really burning me. So I went to see Michael Bobbitt, and I said, Michael, do you control the theater? And he goes, yes. And he's the new director there, very nice guy, very high energy. I said, I need a favor, could you help me? And he's going to put it up on the board when you're waiting in the theater before the performance starts. He'll flash it on that screen.
Oh, on the screen?
Yes,
See,
but he's-
they want tech.
Yes, but hair starts on the 27th, so it'll only be for 2 days. But he said, anytime you need something, give me more notice, I'll get it up there for you. So we're definitely gonna do that for the April.
Yeah,
thing.
that's
So we
great.
have-
I really think that's the way to go, bigger, because to be honest, I don't even know if people read these community boards,
Well,
you know?
just saying, the parks are a natural, Victory Field, the top line is always cruising, the beautiful weekend, people were out there like crazy, so the sandwich boards are critical there. Not too many people over at Filipello except for the tot lot. And Arsenal, you can't even find the entrance now because of all the construction, but I just would really like us to start thinking about that. Jason,
You know, it's an obvious place we haven't put one,
where,
that I just realized walking into the building today?
Yeah.
the front,
That building board downstairs, unless I missed it.
Oh, that's a great point,
The
yeah.
bulletin board that has the
Literally-
agenda on it?
Like that's
Yeah.
got all the
Oh,
flyers.
community.
on the
about
big, the one that I said in front of town hall downstairs,
Just
remember we
like when
talked
you
about
walk
on
in the
Friday?
door.
Oh,
on your
yeah,
left.
but you know, that's the health
Is that just health
department, yeah,
department?
that's the health department.
But
Oh.
we needed a sandwich board right in front of town
Maybe
hall.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
should
but there,
be-
it's a requirement for open meeting law that every meeting has a posting location.
Probably
That's
doesn't
down
know
by
that.
the
Yeah,
elevators, that's
yeah,
in
that's
the,
in
right
the-
across
by
from the
the
town
clerk.
clerk.
Put it there.
No, that's the town
It's-
clerk's thing, it's a legal thing,
Right.
Maria,
This
that
is
we have to do.
technically a public meeting, it could
Well,
be there.
No, I'm saying it has to be stamped, this is so we don't go to
Right.
jail.
It's, they just put the stamped agenda.
Yeah.
in town meeting.
But the library,
Well,
like when
one
it's
is
nice
just-
weather in the cafe,
Yes.
Leona's been helping us, I went to see her,
I have
mentioned
it, I
it,
have
yes.
it like near the treasurer.
where you pay your taxes,
I
yeah.
have some there.
Oh,
Oh,
there
you
is
did,
one.
okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
no, we covered that, we were
Yeah.
trying to figure out. So please put your thinking caps on, and if you think of another idea, please send them to Lene and me, we can circulate those ideas, but we gotta get more creative, cause otherwise we're gonna die here.
Well, we
Let's-
still got 80 people registered to come out, let's not.
Well, you know how many emails I have sent, Mark? I've been pounding on Facebook, been pounding on Nextdoor, buttonholing people. I'm used to
Posted
hundreds
it
of
on
people.
Facebook, 2 Facebook accounts,
Yeah,
and,
good.
in my neighborhood, and I've sent out email to
Yeah.
my neighborhood and the Concom, so
Great.
there's others,
Good.
others
No,
are
no, I
working
know.
it too, it's not, you're
No,
not the
I'm
only one.
No, I'm not saying that, Maria, but if, also, do people want us, I had a little problem with the logo, to scale it for the Facebook, it kinda distorts, I'm gonna meet with Marcia this weekend, but do people wanna have that so they can use that if they're posting something on their Facebook page? That's all I'm asking too, no?
I don't know.
No, okay, all right, just asking. Okay, where's my next thing that I have here? There's so much, okay, the big thing now, folks, and this we gotta do right now, because we need to, it is what? 8:04. Next week, we need to get out our invites for the focus groups. Now, the focus groups are not for the general public. These do not have to be publicized in the way of our meetings. Neither the focus groups or the public forums. This is being run by Jen. We can attend, but we cannot deliberate at the meeting, but we can go and sit as members of the audience if somebody wants to go to one of them to see what's going on. But it's not for the general public. This is where we are looking at who are we inviting. And the groups are supposed to be 10 to 12 people, and they should be people who are stakeholders in these 4 areas. So Peter, may I use you as an example?
Feel free.
Okay, so Peter's the director of recreation, but Peter also has the summer program Camp Pequasit, which deals a lot with our children in town. I mean, rec also does a lot of adult programs. So obviously, we wanna go to Peter and say, Peter, who are key people that should be represented? And there are going to be 2 meetings in the morning, they're about an hour each, and then 2 meetings in the evening, as you remember, the 12th and the 13th. So Peter may have, how many people, if I'm just talking, how many people would you be sending, Peter? Maybe 2 or 3, when you think about it? Because Brian Donato runs Camp Pequasit, right?
I mean, or anything at all, I mean.
So you might have 1 person at each meeting, or maybe 2 or 3 people coming to the focus group, correct? I'm guessing.
Yeah, I wanted to get some direction, but whatever you.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
so that's what I'm saying. So we have to look at our boards and committees, and Jason is a planning board member, but obviously we should get somebody else involved with the planning board that would come, and I don't know if you have a recommendation, or you're gonna leave that to Jeff.
No, I'll recommend something.
You're gonna recommend somebody?
Yeah.
Okay, so I would like to get that list, if we could start to develop a list right now, because in walking around town, everybody said to me, Elodie, can you give me the dates and the times, because these are the professional people in town, and they need to book their calendars, and at the same time, I also wanna give them the dates for the second public forum. Can I just go around the table, cause that would be really helpful, so.
Can I ask a question for
Sure.
just a clarification? The list that Susan put together, that was gonna then be, amplified, supplemented, and so on. I thought that the focus group participants would be or at least the organizations or whatever would be drawn from, that list would be used to identify the.
Not all the people on that list, John, are necessarily stakeholders. Lene
Oh, sure.
used that list to promote the public forum. She sent emails out to the people on that list
Yeah,
for the
there, I
public
mean,
forum.
I'm sure there are way, more people on that list, or even organizations, than I guess it's a total of 40 to 48 that are gonna come to all these 4 focus group things. But, so, I mean, I'm a little confused, because I thought that, that the focus group list would be drawn from that.
Not everybody on that list is appropriate for a focus group. For example,
I'm not
community
saying that.
conversations is not a
I'm not
stakeholder.
saying that.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. Are there key organizations? Right now, I'm asking to go around the table, because if there's commonality in key organizations, we need to know that. The counselors, obviously, the town council gets invited. Key management people in the town get invited to this. Then we have the Boys and Girls Club gets invited. So Peter's department, so we have this, I thought of this in a lot of different ways. We have, when we talked back in November, so I keep bringing this up, but we've gotta nail it down. We have the statutory boards automatically, we should have somebody from each statutory board. The town council, we have the senior center. We have the schools, but I think more about the Boys and Girls Club, because the schools are there. We're not gonna invite every PTO, but I believe you made the suggestion of the person who does the gardens at the schools.
Yeah.
Did somebody
Oh,
make,
yeah.
or you,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, making Jason Bakian
Judy Fowler.
again.
Judy Fowles.
So,
But I,
Definitely, she I'm sure is gonna have a lot of great ideas.
What is her last name?
Fowles, Fallows.
Okay, Bob knows her too, so in which school is she located in?
She goes
She
to all of them.
rotates.
Yep.
Okay, so, see, that's a name that I don't know.
I probably have an email address for her.
Well, that would be great if you could shoot that. So
Yeah.
I really wanna have people focus on, and people that you might know that we don't know. And again, we're really looking for those stakeholders around these 4 areas. Maria?
So are we now going to say, okay, let's talk about who do we want for the open space, who do we want for affordable housing right now, just go around the.
Yes,
That's
we
okay.
really wanna focus, and then we can say, well, how many people does that roughly total to?
Would you take
And
down
then
her
how can
address
we,
if I don't?
where do we
Yeah.
wanna add,
But we can
expand?
use this list as a resource for thinking about who fits
Sure,
in these categories.
but then have a rationale why we're inviting them.
Correct, I know what
Okay.
you're saying. Yeah, I
Okay,
know
thank
what
you.
can
Bob?
Tammy from the Commander's Mansion, she's the general manager.
Right, Commander's Mansion, yes.
Tammy
So that would be
Fernandez.
historic
Pardon?
group? That would be for historic, can we go
I-
by group, by focus? group?
Historic, yes.
Historic, so.
Okay, so let's,
Okay.
that's a
I'm gonna
good.
forward you an email.
Oh,
from her.
okay.
Does that work better?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so we
Thank you,
have
that would be better.
Tammy
I'm trying to type it.
at the Commander's Mansion.
And is that for historic or we
Yes.
or
Yes.
general? Okay.
No, that's historic.
So should we just stick with historic now and
Yeah, right, so let's
refinish that?
focus that, great idea.
So, that's
Susan.
not my forte, so.
Short of, I would really have to
Joyce.
think about
Joyce
this.
Kelly,
Well, yeah, obviously Joyce, David, Russo, someone from the,
George
historic
Washington.
conservation district.
Maryland?
I don't know anybody there, that's why I'm asking.
Well, I'll find out.
Okay, but,
That's the historic conservation district?
The art conservation district,
The art conservation?
no,
No.
it's kind of a little bit about Auburn Street, and comes up some of the strides, Marshall Home, kinda comes in a little bit.
That's his name, I served on
Um,
that.
but
There's somebody else.
But what's it called?
It's the Watertown
Historic
Historic District.
Oh,
Historic
okay,
district,
I just
right.
missed part
Sorry,
of that.
I said
already.
conservation,
He's
you're
sort
right.
of a
Is
big-
Yeah,
there
that's why you
someone in
had
the
me
library who
confused.
does the historic photography?
Blanking.
Well, Leon's going to come to this, so I will talk to her about this, who she does. There was a really good librarian that really knew the history stuff, but she left, she knew everything. What was her name? Dark hair
Maybe,
woman.
maybe able to get her to come.
Ooh, somebody
Despite
from the
fact that she left.
library?
Yes, of course, but let's, first, you made the suggestion, let's focus, make sure that we've got the historic district covered. Is there somebody that we're missing, or that somebody
I'll
else
find a
thinks?
good name for you.
Okay, cause I mean, Marilyn Roche is another one, she gives a lot of information, she writes books on witches and everything, but she's very, very knowledgeable. She's written a book about Watertown that she's, also did all the photos where all the old farms were, and she did all these drawings, so she's definitely a wonderful addition to come to something like this. Because already then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people right here from historic.
And Marilyn Roach is with who? Or is she just a resident?
She's a
Historic.
resident, and she is on the historic commission.
Gotcha.
She's involved with several things in the town.
Because of the archiving ability to use funds for city
Yes.
archiving, I would suggest
Somebody from the library.
someone from the library, but also, I mean, and it may be too late, cause I did hear that there was a flood, but I know where I work, we used CPC funds to scan old drawings and stuff, so someone from engineering, but I think when the town engineer passed away and they didn't replace him for more than a decade, I'm not so sure if that's, but somebody that might know,
It's a good idea.
because
That's a
they
great
can
idea.
use money for scanning and preserving the historic records of our town.
That's a great
That is
idea.
great.
All right, so
I'll find out.
we'll find out and talk to.
But it could be someone from engineering, could be someone from DPW, it could be some, I mean, I'm looking at old books right here, I
Right.
don't know if they're relevant or
Okay,
useful
I'm making
or-
a note, Maria, because we'll try to track
But
down.
there's a lot of really good information that usually an engineering or DPW has hold of that could be scanned and preserved.
Do you know anything about that, Bob? Would you?
You know,
do you
who
have
might, who
opinions?
might, who might be good at that is,
I could ask the
I'm
engineer.
not quite
But-
sure whether I want to suggest, you know, Ruth Tomasian is with Project Save, who does the
Armenian.
Armenian.
Yeah, the Armenian photograph collection, but that's sort of,
But, no, they should be invited, no, I hear you, so we have, right now, we have 5 people for historic, remember, I'm trying to say the groups are supposed to be about 10 to 12, so
Yeah.
that's 40 to, 48 people, so I wanna be sure we really cover our bases on our key areas. So if we have Tammy, Joyce Kelly, Marilyn, David Russo, somebody from the historic district area, and then we have
I'll ask the current engineer.
the
If he can
engineering
recommend someone.
person, maybe there's an engineering person and a library person for the artifact scanning, so that may be 7. Okay, under housing, obviously,
well, what are we doing with Ruth Tomasian?
oh, I'm gonna get to her in a different way, cause I'm gonna go to, put her with the museum and the Armenian cultural thing. I'm just trying to,
That's historic.
okay, Mark, okay, fine.
Yeah, someone from the Armenian culture should be in the
Yeah.
historic
Yeah.
focus group.
Okay,
The Armenian Museum that's right here on Main Street.
I have that on my list already, and Ruth Tomasian, and what was the name of her, or, what was?
Project Save, SAVE.
Thank you, Mark, Project Save. Okay, good, so this is our kind of history category.
So I don't know if they have a town archivist, but that would be another,
That would be better.
I mean, we have one, but I don't know if we have such a
Well,
person.
this person in the library was doing that, she was amazing. You can
Yeah,
find
then
it.
she should,
She's not here, well, she's in the town, I'm gonna track her down to see if we can invite her.
I mean, I think it would be good if she's willing to come.
Yeah, I'll find out who she is, but you could go for, okay, so we have a good handle on that one.
Historic.
Under housing,
I don't know anybody.
all right, well, obviously Mike
Michael
Lara,
Lara, yeah,
Alan's in the house.
that's included.
Yeah, but Mike's-
Also his 2 lieutenants, I would say.
Right, we
Patty
have-
Richardson and Diane Murphy.
yeah, I already have them on my list,
Yeah, I
so
know you
that's
spoke to
3.
them, yeah.
I spoke to everybody, that's right, so we have
Patty Richardson, Diane Murphy, and
Yeah.
also someone from the Affordable Housing Committee who.
Murphy.
You know the chairman of that committee,
Right,
don't you?
yeah, that's Fred Reynolds, so
Fred
that's the
Reynolds,
housing partnership, okay,
Okay, the
so,
housing partnership.
Was that the Waltham guy?
yes.
Yeah,
Maybe somebody from the senior center and also Metro West Collaborative,
Yeah.
Jen Goldson, what's her name?
Jennifer.
Van Campen.
Van Campen,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So, the senior center, well, Mike Lara has his lieutenant, as Alan just said, he has the senior lieutenant, and then his other lieutenant does the other housing. So, that's 3 people from the housing partnership that we'll invite. Then we have Anne Marie Gagnon, I spoke with her, she is the senior center, okay, and
Yep.
so certainly she's interested, in coming. I'm trying to cover our town employees first, to make sure we've got them covered, because then you could also say, do we wanna go to the people at the Brigham House? Do we wanna go to the people at the residences? Do we wanna go to the people at the Coolidge School? Cause all of those places have some affordable housing units in them, except for the residences.
In Arsenal Apartments.
And Arsenal Apartments would come under Mike Lara, cause that's the housing authority,
No, it's
isn't it?
not.
It isn't?
No.
Arsenal Apartments is separate?
it's federal, I think,
Section 8
yeah.
federal.
So who oversees that
I
then?
don't know, nothing to do with us.
Wow, see, I just learned something, I thought that was under you.
No.
Okay, so we'll have to find,
First elderly housing in the east end of Watertown.
so it's the Arsenal Apartments.
Which one is that?
It's
Down
over,
by the mall.
Next to the hospital, yeah.
it's kind of by Harvard Vanguard, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Next to,
Big
town.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, so,
I defer to people who know more about that, but it seems more logical, instead of inviting one person from all those different buildings, that it's like the overarching groups.
yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Oh, okay, you were rattling off, different places, different buildings.
No, I'm just putting this out as an idea. Those are three
Like the Coolidge Apartments.
groups, those are three groups where they have some affordable housing in there, and there's some people with disabilities in there because they've made them accessible units. So that's the Brigham House, it's the residences, and then it's the Coolidge Apartments.
So you're inviting people from each of them?
No,
Okay.
this is a brainstorming
Oh,
session. I'm
okay.
trying to draw on, we're looking at housing as a category.
Got it.
What-
I just wanted to make sure I didn't
Yeah.
misunderstand, I got it.
No, I don't know.
So you just
It might be useful to bring in a developer.
That's on my list too, but I wanna first look at our.
But in housing, I mean, we're looking at the housing.
Well, that would be people like Can Do and Metro West Collaborative.
Yes, but I'm also thinking like
Private
commercial
developers.
developer, private developer,
Mm,
just to get different perspectives.
But,
I don't know.
this is a Watertown thing where Watertown people where she wants Watertown people that are stakeholders from the four overarching areas to talk and brainstorm together of how they see Watertown and project areas that they see needs. These are the physical stakeholders.
Well, but, the guys who are putting up the apartment buildings are required to put up 10% of their units in
15.
affordable housing. They have a stake at 15%, okay.
I
They have
don't
a
think
stake
they
at-
care as much as people like Jennifer Van Campen who
No,
actually,
I'm not
they
saying you
literally
should invite
hold
them, I'm
the
just saying-
building.
No,
It'd be
he's
good to have that
brainstorming,
side.
all right,
Yeah.
but can we first talk about, I'm just trying to get through the four categories and.
This is part of the category, it's the housing category.
But a developer is a for-profit thing that I think comes down the road, because obviously we can invite McQuillan in because he's the biggest developer in town. We could look at this and say, I have a list of the 100 top businesses in Watertown.
No,
with
you're not
employers.
listening to me.
I am listening,
No,
Mark.
you're not. Because what I
Please, I am. I've spent a lot of time on this. I've been asking since November for the information. Please go on.
So all I'm saying is, the developer are required to, in many instances, to provide affordable housing units.
Correct.
And they sometimes find it difficult to do that, they may find it cumbersome, it may be useful to have them part of this focus group on affordable housing.
I agree.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, but I was trying to first look at the town, under the umbrella of town hall, for lack of a better word, and a town government, and then go out to some of these other areas that I think should be in there, because I have a list of them, so that was my approach. So I'm putting that, and the biggest developer in town for the units right now, in progress, would be McQuillan.
Yeah.
Boylston Properties.
And he is not doing this out of the generosity of his heart.
Thank you,
No,
Jason.
I'm just leave it at
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
No, it's
I
actually
I
a
lot of
see the
good things
point
for
of
the
not,
town.
yeah, I see the
Yeah,
not,
I mean,
the point of.
if we had a developer in town that was doing like, all affordable or even a 40B
A
or
friendly
something,
40B.
A friendly 40B, which we know we can't do anymore.
Yay, guess why?
But yeah, I mean, until there's a developer we know of who's doing this because it's the right thing to do, as opposed to because they have to get their project permitted.
I agree, that's
I think that's
why,
a bad idea.
I've extended the
No, sure.
invitation to come to the public
I
forum.
don't think their heart's in the right place.
Okay.
yeah, that's
All
why
right.
I distinguish them too, like
Okay,
Jason,
all right.
because like Jennifer Van Campton's company, they literally hold the property.
Yeah, yeah.
Like they hold it, they don't flip it. Like, you know what I mean? Like the developers that even coming from our board, they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna keep this and we're gonna take care of the trails and this, and they just flip it, and they sell it.
Okay, my friends, I love the conversation, but
No,
we
but
are at
this does make me think
8:21.
there are
John
groups-
has his hand up, and then can I go to you?
Yep.
Thank you. John.
Would it be appropriate under housing to have an organization like the World in Watertown, which is not a housing organization, but is an organization that, as far as I'm aware, tries to be in touch with particularly immigrant communities and at least
Sounds like a good idea.
that
Well,
that might
I
be
think of
part
those, the group Citizens for Peace, Justice, and the Environment, because they're tied to the environment, and they do other social kind of causes things. I first really wanna be sure we covered what let's say call the hardcore people that we really need at the table, and then see what we have left a little bit.
Right,
You
well,
know?
think about it.
Yeah, so they're on that list, John, but first I'm trying to, what were you gonna say, Jason?
So they're not in Watertown, but there are local groups that promote affordable housing. There's one called CHAPA,
Yeah,
Preservation of Affordable Housing. They're not local, but I think they're always looking for opportunities to.
but again, this is supposed to be the stakeholders in our community that are supposed to have their ear to the ground of what we really need in terms of the resources here. So I think we really,
Okay.
I just really think.
We're brainstorming.
I know, I'm just trying to, can we get through our 4
Yeah.
categories? So we have the housing partnership people, we have, the housing authority, we have Jennifer Van Campen, yes, Maria.
So as you're talking, veterans just popped into my head, so I don't know if we have a veterans,
Agent.
an agent or the Commission on Disability, maybe for them for housing.
Don't we have a part-time social worker?
Oh, that's a good, yeah.
That's through, is that through the multi-service center that person was hired? I'm trying to remember. Yeah.
Getting a part-time social worker on the
Right, you're right, Mark, I'm trying to figure out where she sits, I can't,
You can just make a note, like, but someone from veterans or disability or the social worker.
Patrick George
What's
is
that?
from Veterans.
He's the new veterans guy, yeah.
What's his name?
Patrick George.
Oh, okay, so we have a veterans agent?
Yeah.
Yes, that's his name, Patrick George.
The
So,
social worker should also be.
okay, because let's just talk, here are the boards and commissions, we have the bike ped committee, right? That's open space, that's outdoor recreation. You know, we have our Board of Health, they, I don't know how tied they are to housing, the Commission Disability, us, the Conservation Commission, the Council on Aging. Let's see, we have this new group now for the Environment and Energy Group, but they're doing a big thing about stormwater and hazards that's coming up at the library to talk about protecting our natural environment. You know, is that another invite to people that are.
What group is it?
It's a relatively new group, it's MWA, they're having a meeting at the library that's coming up. And it's about, you know, kind of around global warming issues.
It's the climate one?
Yes,
Okay.
I think it's involved with a lot of different things like that. And then, of course, you know, we have the zoning board, cause they're certainly looking at what's going on with our town and what's popping up. So I'm just saying, with all those people, we have quite a lot to contend with, you
Okay,
know.
so under open space, you know, obviously some people from the Concom. I would suggest trees for Watertown.
Yeah.
I would suggest at whatever category you wish, but definitely, maybe 2 categories, Watertown Citizens for Peace, Justice, and the Environment, but
The plan.
probably under
Somebody from the
the
plan.
open space
Open space / recreation.
/
Right.
yeah, either one of those.
Do we have an outdoor gardening group?
Yeah, and we have the Watertown
Community gardens.
Community
That-
gardens.
you'd be good.
Well, you can suggest.
Recreation department.
Okay.
Yeah, the rec department, Peter, yeah.
Peter, we've got Peter covered.
Are we talking about rec and open space now, or just?
Yes, we can.
Oh, yeah, that's
Combined
true.
category,
They get
right?
10% as a group, so,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
we look at them separately in terms of the needs of the community, but they get a minimum of 10% as a group.
I was looking at the Gore place.
Okay, Maria, wait, because Jason's speaking, it's
So,
like,
Watertown Youth Baseball Organization.
Then you get into youth basketball, youth volleyball.
youth soccer,
everything.
youth hockey,
Soccer,
youth this, you
Is
have that,
Is that a bad idea?
No, but that recreation can cover
I
that.
think they can represent them.
they can represent it, cause we,
Well, there's a-
Yeah, I mean, they're not really under your umbrella, right? WYBB?
No, they're not under our umbrella.
Yeah.
I mean, the biggest sport in town is the soccer, from what I understand. The youth soccer group, am I correct, Peter, would you say?
Baseball's,
That and baseball.
baseball's
the biggest.
even bigger, actually.
I don't know the exact numbers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Little League, yeah.
How about the athletic director in the school? Is there an overall athletic?
Ryan Murphy, okay. Peter, who's the baseball person? I know,
Bill Furtado.
Bill Furtado.
okay. Bill for may I ask that?
Irene Donahue.
Wait,
Right.
hang on,
Right.
please.
FURTADO.
TADO,
Yeah.
and Mark is the soccer. Okay. So we're going very lopsided to athletics right now, just
Well,
saying.
No, but that should be a different focus group. Cause
No.
it's four, right?
They're not, the focus groups are divided by topic.
Oh, I thought they
No,
were.
there are 4 focus groups, so people, there are gonna be a different group of people sitting at the table, so this person may be historic, this person may be this. So people can hear other
Oh, and
things
they
in the
get to
town.
choose which date that fits them, is that?
Well, people have different schedules, so it's 2 morning meetings, 2 afternoon.
Oh, okay, okay, so it's, a blended meeting, and it could be all different people.
That's what I understood, yes.
Oh, okay.
Is that what you understood, Lene?
I thought that they were going to,
Because you had a meeting without me, so I don't know, but I heard that it was blended, so we will clarify that, but let's keep going with the names. Go ahead, Maria.
So, an addition to consider under affordable housing is the Marshall Home Fund. It says, we provide limited financial assistance to Watertown residents age 55 or older. Oh, wait, I'm sorry, I thought that was for housing. Let me just read that, I'm not sure if that's housing or not.
They have 11 apartments there. The Marshall Home has already come up to me, contacted me, because they want to restore the historic portico, what was in the front, because they're in the historic district as well. So,
Okay.
I'm just letting you know that they've reached out. People are panicking because they think they've missed the window to apply. I'm trying to explain to them what the process is about, and we're nowhere close, so.
But it's good that they're panicking.
Yeah,
No, I don't want people to panic that they feel like deals are being done and applications are
No,
being
no,
taken
no.
and they miss the boat, come
No,
on.
But at least it gets them, you
Get them
know.
thinking.
Right, they're
Thinking.
thinking, well, that's why they need to get their family to this meeting. Other people that people are thinking about.
And the
Irene.
science, I'm sorry.
Irene Donahue, athletics.
That's this,
It's a coach of one sport.
That's a coach of one
You
sport.
start breaking down
No,
into all
we're
the
not-
sports again.
no, no.
Yeah, we got the athletic director,
Pardon me?
the athletic
The
director,
athletic
you got it
director,
covered.
yeah, we've got it covered, thank you very much.
What about, someone from the Gore Place? Or,
What places in Waltham?
Not all.
Not all of it.
The land is, part of the land's in
farm-
Waltham, the structure's in Waltham.
The farmhouse is in
Is in
Watertown.
Farmhouse is in
Watertown, and
Watertown,
I
but
worry
the
all the
land, yeah.
time when he doesn't farm the land behind me if he's gonna sell it, cause he used to farm it and till it a lot more than he
Well,
does.
he can't
Right,
sell
I
it.
can't sell that,
I
can
know, but I just,
Yeah.
You worry
I
anyway.
know.
That's okay,
We'll pitch tents out there, protest,
okay.
right, Dennis?
I mean, just an idea, I know they got a lot of money from Waltham for stuff.
Well, that's what I was just gonna say, all right, we have two, I know this is
That's
selfish.
just an idea,
Right,
we
we
don't
have-
have to.
We have
They'll-
$2
they'll
million
figure it out.
plus if the state ponies up that 30%, it's $2,600,000 a year. Waltham is rolling in money, given their tax base, and they're buying up land like crazy, so.
Okay, that's fine.
Selfish. Wait, John had his hand up, Marie, excuse me.
Okay.
Just in that same category, under historic, the Mount Auburn Cemetery and Historic New England has, owns a property and has restrictions on at least one that I can think of, but I don't know if you want to get that, specific.
I know I have some of the same feelings there when they're, I heard that the minimum offering for the property over on Grove Street was 29. I know that one developer offered 40.
Already?
Was ready to offer 40,
Yeah.
and there's another developer that might be going in even for more, so that's supposed to be announced this month, so, but, I guess we should be gracious and invite them, is that what you're saying, John?
No, yeah, and also if we wanna, have the idea of maybe we can put in a little money where there are other pots of
Right.
money, and so,
Okay, so we've got, then with historic, we've got historic pretty well covered, I think, between
Mhm.
Mount Auburn, Gore Place. At least we should be friendly to Gore Place, because if we can ever buy a piece of that land, we should try to get it, right? So big area then that we're still thinking about is, we have some good stuff on housing and historic, recreation. I think we're kind of covered then.
Did you wanna do the board, the planning and zoning board?
Of course, no, I the regular boards, of course.
Yeah, but like just kinda I can find out from the boards, like who might be interested, or we can suggest people, I don't know how you want to.
Well, that's, you know your board better.
Yeah.
Is this something that Jeff would say, well, I want to appoint the person, or are you gonna talk about it at the planning board? When's your next meeting, Jason?
Second Wednesday, so, yeah, not for a couple of weeks.
Can you reach out to
Yeah.
them and just say, you know, Lodia, that
Yeah.
our committee is looking for a planning board member to invite?
And zoning. I'd do
And
the same
zoning,
for
okay,
zoning,
yeah, because I'm hoping Melissa would come, she's really.
I'll bet she would do it.
Yeah, she's really sharp.
Yeah.
Any other suggestions? My
Uh,
parliamentarian, do you have any other suggestions?
Not at this time.
Okay, thank you, John.
What
Excuse
about
Oh, you're
the
going around the room.
DCR, one of the biggest, you know,
Dan Driscoll, definitely, yes, I have him on my list, John.
Oh, that's a great idea under
Yeah.
open space, yeah.
Yeah.
Dan Driscoll.
Yeah.
Or maybe others. you
Dan
know.
and I want to put a boat back in by Margaritas in Waltham, because we both like when they had the boat that went up and down the river.
Oh.
For our retirement career, cocktails, you know.
I had high hopes that the old rubber facility that's now those apartments right at the bend of the river, that would be someplace that you could have outdoor dining and
I'm
a
with
good
you.
lunch, you know, but.
Yeah, I want Casa de Pedro back. Jason, you had somebody else you were
Um,
going to suggest?
Yeah, someone who might fall through the cracks because he's not a current town councilor, but Aaron Dushku. We should talk to him. No?
Yeah, I think it's very touchy when you start going into individual town councilors, as Susan Falkoff has resigned. They can come to the public forum, but right now, again, I wanna kind of try to keep it a little bit clean on
Okay.
these issues. You know, cause then if we invite Aaron, but we
But so
don't,
what I don't understand is, are we talking about, would we just say town council, appoint somebody who would come to a focus group, or are we approaching individuals on boards or council?
well, the council, we really want to have educated about these things wherever they fit into, because
Mhm.
they are ultimately gonna be, all we can do is propose projects, they vote on it. They vote to.
No,
move
I understand, but how do are we inviting individuals, or are we inviting the town council to to designate a member? And I suppose the same question holds true of the boards. Like, I can reach out to the zoning board and the planning board and say, hey, who wants to do it?
Right, cause if we get 5 people from each board, then we're full, and we don't have enough room to
Right.
add in all these people.
Right.
So my suggestion would be that you initially see if there's somebody who wants to represent the planning board and the
Mhm.
zoning board.
Okay.
The town council is a little bit different, because ultimately, they are the last stop in terms of saying go forward with the project. Go ahead, John.
I wonder if we could treat the town council in the same way that we're treating ourselves, namely to invite, you know, all the councilors, but not as participants, but if they just want to sit in and, you know, sort of, you know.
I'll ask
hear
Jen
what
about
goes
that,
on.
how they've handled that, have they had them separately or not?
I can see the
That's-
benefit of not necessarily having too many, because
Yeah.
you could use it as a grandstanding, you know.
Right,
They're not in politics because they don't, they're in politics because they know how to
it's a good point.
talk the talk, you know, and make themselves, I'm sorry. I
No,
should-
no, I hear what you're saying. It's a good, it's a really good question. I'm gonna follow, Lene and I will follow up with Jen and probe on that one a little bit more.
I think it's good that they'll be at the public forum. Many of them will probably
Mhm.
be. Yeah.
You wouldn't want them to feel excluded.
Correct, correct. So,
Speaking of people you wouldn't wanna feel excluded, what about the state rep and state senator?
yeah, John, you're talking about Michael Long and, John,
John,
I mean, excuse me, I did that the other
John Long,
day.
yeah.
Those two brothers drive me crazy.
Senator Brownsburg.
Senator Brownsberger,
He should be invited to the public forum.
He was.
he was.
Perfect.
They all were invited, believe me.
What about
And
someone
Jonathan
from
Hanks.
St. Pat's Cemetery, the Archdiocese runs that? I know it's a private cemetery, but kind of Mount Auburn is
So
still,
it's Mount Auburn, yeah.
Mhm.
so.
That's a good point. I think if you invite one, you should invite the other.
Mhm. I'm listening, I'm just listening to what you're all saying right now.
I mean, I'm just thinking of equity, because actually Mount Auburn probably gets way more money than.
Well, they may get more, but they don't have more than Jack with the Archdiocese of Boston, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, because then
They're hurting for
the
it.
only museums that I'm aware of that we have in town are the Plumbing Museum and the Armenian Museum,
Yeah.
right?
Mm.
Those are the two that we have. So if you invite one museum, you should be inviting the other museum?
Well, I don't know if it's a historic building, but they did renovate it.
Looks like a historic building.
They did renovate it, and they have historical artifacts in it.
They do, so she would put them down.
Okay, I know it gets a little crazy, but at least if we get a list of these contacts, then I can send it out to everybody.
Susan did a fabulous job.
Mhm. Are those all up to date on there now, Susan, with these
Well,
things?
as of
I
when
know, I need
distributed it.
Carson, I need to send you Carson for the
Okay.
community garden.
The community gardens,
I'll-
I have that on my list.
I'll
Okay.
get you that contact,
Okay,
I'll copy
super,
you
thank you.
and Elodia.
Okay,
And at some point, Elena and I had talked about at some point, I know she hopes, you hope, we all hope that there is some kind of digital database, so that all this information could be put in and things added and deleted and searched and, you know,
Right.
maybe made mailing lists of and stuff like that.
so is there any
But
glaring,
I'll take care of it until then.
is there any glaring omission as we sit here and think about this? And Mark, are you happy about your developer thing, or?
No, I think Jason.
Jason straightened you out on that one? Okay, because, okay, here, I was, I was going your way as well, because I was thinking today, so I thought, well, should we invite the Watertown Savings Bank, because they sit on our housing partnership board, they give an enormous amount of money and support different things in town, and certainly they lend money for different projects, so to me, that's just a they're kind of like a very important entity in the neighborhood, okay. So I thought about that, I too thought about the key developers, then I thought about key real estate folks, cause, I'm thinking, do you bring them in to kind of have a little bit balanced perspective of what's going on, but then I know a lot of them, and their attitude is, they're making a lot of money, and you get into this thing that Jason's talking about of where their interests lie.
Well, maybe we need to take a step back and say, well, what's the purpose of these focus groups? The purpose, I thought, is for us to get information on our community needs, kind of in a way, right? So-
Projects from people who are close to the ground to say, these are critical needs. So Peter could say, I have a critical need for X, Y, and Z, given these activities that we do and what we're hoping for this community. The bike and ped group can say, we really wanna see the path done. We keep talking about it, it's not happening. Why? This is a critical component to getting people out of cars and walking or riding bicycles for connectivity. So those are the kinds of strategic people you want to have sitting at the table. I thought about some of the nonprofits in town. This is a list of 100 employers, the largest employers in town. They have people that have to do custodial work. They have all levels of employees coming in to do stuff, but then we're kind of really getting out there. I think these are more important to invite to the public forum. That's what I'm thinking, but any other comments?
I think it's really.
Watertown Savings Bank we're putting
I'm not sure
on.
the focus groups are for us. I think it's more for the Golden Group, so they can put together a plan that speaks to needs that
Right.
people.
The Watertown Savings Bank, I think, should be on it. And John said yes, and some other people nodded yes, so.
The president of Oakland Country Club.
Because they're so generous to the community.
You're right, I know that, but it is historic, and it is open space.
It is open
It's
space.
for private use. but-
Yeah, it's very private, yeah.
And it's zoned for cluster zoning, should they ever sell.
Yeah,
But they could never do that.
and they would never be eligible for it.
They'd take a.
Well,
huge
maybe
hit.
under rare circumstances would be eligible for CPA funding, there'd be a lot of restrictions on.
Yeah.
That would happen, so I don't know.
Make it available to the public.
Yeah, exactly. That would be the.
Yeah, that kills that deal, right?
Tear the fence down.
Dennis.
Perkins,
Put sledding back in.
Oh, God, you have heard about the big blow-up going about
Yeah,
Perkins right now.
Besides that, I'm trying to get information, I don't know if they fit in or they
Well, certainly they have historic buildings
Yeah.
and beautiful land and all that.
They might have a perspective on housing.
Pardon me,
I
John?
said they might have a perspective on housing.
They might.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
The Perkins.
I was still
School.
thinking
They
about
take
that.
all the houses within a mile.
Oh, they do. Not much.
Okay, anybody else? Because then Lene and I can really put this all together, we'll put it together by category. We'll
You
put
have
it-
to identify the right person first.
we'll contact the president's office and say that he.
So is that gonna go under historic or affordable? Oh, we don't know, but it just put Perkins, is what you're
I
saying.
have the Perkins down,
Okay.
right.
I think they would be, I think that's a good,
It is a good idea.
yeah, they should be on there somewhere.
And we're the outreach group in town. We want it to be the positive outreach group in town.
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
Montgomery Cemetery owns a lot of property in town, not just the cemetery.
Uh-huh. No, I hear what John
Yeah.
said, we should invite them, they are a huge historical resource, but would they be the top of my list that we have to worry about funding? Not really.
Yeah.
Oakley, I'm a little like on the fence of, I mean, it's a great point that Bob made, but I remember Leo always says that we have the first right of refusal.
We do.
So we kind of would know if we had the opportunity to get open space, and it would be our own planning department that would initiate, wouldn't they?
It's
That
zoned for
kind-
cluster zoning, Maria, if it's sold, it's already zoned.
Is it Oakley or?
What does
Yeah,
that mean,
Oakley.
cluster zoning?
Cluster zoning is you put houses together so you can keep the open space.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
You can keep green space, so it's not gonna be zoned for, 10, it's 80, roughly 88 acres, Bob, so you're not gonna get 88 single-family homes. It's gonna be townhouses clustered or something like that, then for green space, but it's already zoned, should go. They're not gonna sell that.
They're not, you don't think?
They'd have a huge tax
They
rate.
just
All
spent
the
$10 million
clubs-
renovating it.
There's a rule in Mass Law 42B, I think it is, that they get a break on their taxes.
Oh.
But if they go to sell it, they have to pay all those taxes back.
Uh-huh.
So they would pay, like, this has been going on for 30-plus years, of like 85% of the tax rate for 35 years. They
That
could
they would
never
have-
afford to sell
They
it. They
sold
wouldn't
it,
make the
they
money.
just
They
give it
they don't owe
back
money in
to the
taxes.
government.
So,
So
All right.
then maybe that's an add.
all right, so it's 8:43, I think we have a really good list. Could I make a cutoff? Today's Thursday. Could I just say that by next Wednesday, preferably sooner, if there's anybody else, but I think we've hit the big ones.
Yeah, we got it.
Because we really want, I really would like to get this squared away, that we kind of put the list together, get a head count of who we're inviting, and get the save the date out for this thing, and try to see where people are gonna fit in, and all that. And then we will update you on all of that. We have our meeting coming up on the 29th, so that's our big Broadway debut. We could all dress in black, so we're easily identifiable. We can all dress in white and pretend we're Hare Krishnas. I happen to like red or purple. Do you wanna do something to identify us, or we're just gonna have big smiles and, see, I wanted those baseball caps that we could have had, fair and square with, Watertown Community Preservation Committee.
I could,
Drink a lot of wine
either
first.
get, pins with like a button with a ribbon, or flowers for all of us. I learned how to make corsages,
Oh, the guys are loving this, they're all going to the
Did I
wedding.
get one for my wrist?
Well, I meant the pin on, or I could just do, like for hosts sometimes at church, we give these little buttons with a ribbon. I don't know, I could look into some, I'll look into,
That's not a bad idea, because if there are a lot of people, it's. so
like
you
maybe
can-
something simpler than
Yeah,
flowers, cause
okay.
flowers actually took me a boatload.
I'll wear mine.
That took me so much work to do.
Okay, so does anybody have,
Yeah.
just trying to get through thank you, this is really good meeting as far as trying to kind of lumber along here and get through all this. Does anybody have any reports from their various commissions, et cetera, commission updates? Anything to report from their boards?
Well, I can talk just a little bit about what I presented to the Historical Commission, which
Wonderful,
was,
Susan.
I wanted to talk to them a little bit about what we'd done, where we were going, and I realized that in order to do that, I needed to make one of my big lists again. But I was curious because this started, we adopted it in November of 2016. And here we are in 2020. And a lot of people might think, well, what have you been doing all this time? But in fact, it wasn't until February of 2019 that we were sworn in.
Right, and
So-
our first, and make sure you note when our first meeting really was.
And our first meeting was, hold on, our first,
March,
March, April,
It was March.
no, well, that was Stuart Saginaw presented in March.
Oh.
Then we had 2 meetings in which we had budget reports, organizational tasks, election of chair, assignments, committee bios, all this kind of just getting started background work. And then really, we didn't really start on business until May 16th, 2019. So we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 meetings, which brought us up to the unanimous decision to hire Lene. And so that was again just getting everything going, reviewing the job descriptions, talking about budgets and website progress.
Scope of work.
The RFQ process.
Mhm.
Yep, all of that kind of stuff, exactly. So really, in terms of preparing for kind of where we're going, the November 4th was our first official meeting with Goldson, I believe. So we've had November, then November 21st, in which we discussed in community engagement. December was the graphics. January was the pro bono meeting with Goldson. So we really only had, moving forward into the actual process of community engagement, had 4 meetings leading up to now.
Prepare for this event.
Yeah. So none of us should feel badly.
I don't feel bad, I know how much work it's been.
I know, but it's.
4, why does it seem like 24?
I don't mean that we shouldn't feel badly, but I just think that it may be hard for people to understand why, when it was voted in 2016, are we just getting around to things?
So I think, that is wonderful, I love that you just decided to do that. But what immediately popped into my mind as you were reading all of that is why don't we get a plotter timeline that and we don't go so detailed what you're saying, but November 2016, whatever the exact date was of that election, Watertown votes, what were the results, CPA passes. Then, you have there's all this discussion on the ordinance, because I was involved in all of that. And the grassroots group, we prepared a draft ordinance, and then it literally got thrown in the trash, and they started over. So there was a lot of time to get the ordinance. So you put a date, ordinance passes. Then you put some other dates, interviews for the members, and then final selection of the members. And then, the other big target dates, and we put it on a board, like a long plotter piece of paper, and we put it in, maybe it doesn't have to be that big. But that we give people like the timeline, because it has been a long time.
Could be something we could put on the bang the table just to give some people some idea.
Historical
But I'm
timeline.
thinking of a timeline, a historic timeline,
yeah.
and then even put projected future date of when we think we might be accepting applications.
I hate
Down
to
there.
do that because I think we could get jammed up on that. I think we're making steady progress, and it's more important to get people vested in the process that we're doing, the public process. And now we can say the April meeting will be
Well,
coming
then
up.
at least say one future date. It's always good to
Yes.
give them something to look forward
Yes,
to.
I agree with
Maybe
that.
we need to give them something.
We
to
will be
like-
having a follow-up public forum
No, like
sometime
a
in
CPA
April.
plan proposed to be done by whatever.
Maria, because look at all the dates that we had to blow through because we just weren't there. So I just think we have the public forum coming up in April, and that's going to be the next big thing where we're going to bring it out to the community of now talking about what we've gathered.
Well, think about it, because I think that even like applications, because people are gonna need to know, well, when will you be ready, and how will I know will you be ready? So
'Cause
if they
we-
have it in their mind that like September they might be ready, then they'll check back in at that time.
We want to drive people to bang the table, though. You know, this is the whole thing, we did this as an interactive tool to keep posting and sharing information with people and get news up about what we're doing or what comes out of the focus groups. So, I mean,
I
that's
have
been
an
critical.
Maybe what we could do would be kind of a compromise, because I anticipate a lot of people will be asking that question. And maybe an answer is that we will, once we get through our initial meetings, we'll have a clear idea of when that might be, and we'll let you know as soon as we can.
I mean, ideally, privately here, we've talked about shooting for the fall.
Right.
because we didn't wanna do it during the summer when there are too many people on vacation, everything's to the ideas that we were shooting for the fall. But we don't know, we still haven't even come to terms with, do we wanna do, the pilot program for, small projects as an application, just to kinda test it out, or are we gonna go, we have a lot of work to do, that's all I'm saying,
Well, it's January.
I know, but, that's what we were talking about shooting for the public hearing to be in the fall.
And we also have all of the important people enrolled now. I think, I'm hoping, I'm hoping that with Lene here, we were sort of stumbling for a while until we had some critical pieces our big rocks, as I would say, are here. Jan Goldson and Lene, and I feel like things should go much more quickly now, or at least a little bit quicker. Not like that needs to be fast, I just mean that there should be steady progression.
Good momentum, yes.
What's that?
A good momentum, yes.
Yes.
Speaking of which, where are we on bang the table? Nowhere, because we haven't paid the bill, is that the sort of?
They are ready to launch when we pay the bill, so this is why it became a real mess, Mark, yes.
This is this bill that we're speaking about here, the 9300.
Yes.
So is that gonna be taken care of in the next 7 days, or
I
whatever?
spoke, yeah, would you call your sister for us?
Yeah.
I've been on Tom Tracy again and again, so,
So who finally has to authorize it, the treasurer's office?
Yes.
The auditor's office
Yes.
has to stamp it, goes to the
Yes.
treasurer's office? So what's the first step would be the auditor's
I asked him
office,
if
to
he
get
could
Tom
get-
to approve it?
yes, so
Okay.
I had to find out where it came from, so as soon as I finally got it, that I knew it had not been processed by anybody,
Hmm.
I said, okay, this is what happened, Tom, now can you do this? And Lene's been following up, she was down there 4 times on Monday, trying to push this through, so, it's pretty critical. So, like I'm just saying, there's a lot of things that are not in our hands sometimes, and that's where,
But even with bang the table, there's some design stuff that has to go on behind it.
they've been
Right.
working on the design in the background, isn't it?
Well, what they're doing is just compiling all the text and pictures,
Yeah,
but that has to be dropped into the platform.
yeah. And will we get to see that at some point, do you think?
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Better if we're paying for it.
Yeah.
So, anything else from anyone else, cause I have a, Maria, go
Real
ahead.
quick, so we did, so from Maria Rose, and not Mark, I know you'll get it right. From the Conservation Commission, we did set a date for the tour, for the
Oh, cool.
educational tour, and we did brainstorm on some locations, but I'll let that be a surprise. But it's June 6th.
Cool,
DJ.
Is that the day?
Sure is.
okay, great,
And if anyone has, in this conversation about adding people to
It's a
the
Saturday.
list
We
of
made it on Saturday.
the
6.
wait,
focus groups, thank
can
you.
have 3 conversations, I'm sorry, go ahead, Susan.
If there's any names and organizations that have come up that should be on this list, please send them to me, and I will add them.
Okay, great, Susan. But Lene is also adding them into a database, aren't you,
Oh,
Lene?
are you?
Right.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
she
so
is.
then just give them.
They should go to Lene.
So they should go to Lene then, because they belong in a database.
Mhm. Any other
Lene, can I ask you one more, can I ask you a question about is this database, could it be, it can be, developed as a list if any of us wanted to have a list out of that database, right?
Well, right now, I don't have a platform. I think that Bang the Table can be a database platform that will be searchable, so I don't have something like Constant Contact or anything like
Okay,
that.
okay.
I mean, that would be ideal to have some kind of software program like that. Right now, I'm just using it in a spreadsheet. So it's, it's searchable and sortable, but it's.
The spreadsheet's great.
Yeah, it's fine.
We'll get a little more sophisticated as we get up to
Okay,
speed,
well,
so, at some
Whatever
point,
works, Lene, I'm happy to update the list.
okay.
Okay, so
Any
send the
other-
names to me and I'll forward them to
Okay.
Lene.
So our next regular meeting is in February 19th?
27th.
27th.
We have our meeting on the 29th, and then our next meeting is February 27th, where Jen Goldson will be coming to present the results of the public forum, go through all that.
Yeah.
And then we will have election of a chair, and there was one, and hopefully we will also have some formal budget presentation of where we're at financially with the CPC funding.
And is Gilson bringing more than just the results of the first public forum, or the other documents she's producing?
I don't know, we're looking to get that, what do you call it, the, meeting in a box information as soon as
Yeah.
possible, because
Yeah.
I've had several requests to come out into the community to do that. I think it'd be fun if there's some great tools to use. I'm happy to go out and talk to people anyway, but I just said right now, we have to get through the 29th.
And so by that date in February, we should also have Bang the Table up and running, you think?
I gotta get the bill paid.
Yeah, I know, well, let's assume it's paid.
Yes,
But will we see, when do we have an opportunity to look at the Bang the Table before it goes up?
Lenee's getting all these questions.
Yeah.
Right, well, I mean, I would say, as soon as, they've been asking for
Yeah.
photographs and things from us to
Yeah.
load into Bang the Table. So as soon as they've completed it, I don't have a date.
Yeah.
I think they were shooting for actually launching, being able to announce it at the
At the
forum.
forum.
Yeah,
That's the
so.
forum.
So any requests that you have, let's put it a different way, Mark. Do you have any requests of Golson that you would like Lenee to relay immediately that are important to you so that, because she's in contact with them?
I think we would like to see what that Bang the Table is
Okay.
gonna look like before it's launched. But I don't wanna wait till February 27th.
No, the idea was that we were hoping to launch at the same time that we were having the survey done, launch Bang the Table, and make this big announcement on
I
the
recognize.
29th. So that was the goal, again.
We don't know if that's gonna happen.
I'm being honest, I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
know,
I
so,
know.
so Lenee, again, can call them and say, can we see a prototype, but,
Yeah.
they want the check, and it, like I say, you never know what's gonna throw a little wrench into the works. So I will relay that issue. Anything else from anyone else?
The housing, we had one employee resign and start his own business, and we replaced that one position. We were lucky enough to get funding, and we hired 2 new local guys.
Wow,
It's good, we need it. We've only had 5 guys servicing almost 600 units.
oh my God.
It's a lot of work. We get 6,000 work orders a year. It's a lot of work.
Mike Laura
And
is
if
such a
somebody
sharp
calls in
guy.
sick, or you figure vacation, snow clearing, that throws a curveball right down the chute.
Bob knows all about that.
Well, the money comes from the state. We can
No,
only
who were
use.
the new hires?
Oh,
Their names?
Yeah, Bobby DeLuca, who was our part-time painter, and Shane Fitzgerald, Fitzy's son.
Okay, my friends,
Yeah.
John, it's 9 o'clock, I'm just letting everybody know, because I know everybody wants to put their word.
Do we know anything about the town manager appointment of, or reappointment of the members whose terms are running out in February?
I did speak to the manager about this, there was a problem, I reminded him that, is he not supposed to get letters out to people? Joanna was quite sick, and she was out, and he said, I'm sorry, Elodie, there was a delay. He said, are there any members that you're aware of that wanna leave? I said, no, absolutely not, everybody's planning on staying. Dennis had already let me know, we'd asked in a meeting, Mark said he was staying, and Jason is appointed by his board. So the manager doesn't really control that, except if he wants to take Jason off the planning board. Just teasing. No.
He does.
No, but that's the only way that, so I did let him know that in just talking to the committee, everybody was planning to
So
roll over.
he's on it?
He knows that, yes.
Well, Mark, you told me you have said you're continuing. Oh, you just said that, sorry.
Yeah, I know, but no, I did get a notice
You did get it?
that asked if I wanted to renew, and I replied in the affirmative.
Yes, and I believe you got a notice too, right, Dennis?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so why am I saying what's going on when you both got notices? I just made the nudge to clarify the issue. Anything else?
Well, we adjourn.
I second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
What's
9:01, thank you very